My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Oh man, so much to cover today. And I know exactly where I'm going to begin. There's already people on hold, so if you're on hold, stand by. We'll be live. I'll start the show in just a couple minutes, guys. Okay, now I'm going to start the mainstream. Now remember, to see and hear all the audio and everything I play, you have to go to the mainstream. Here, with the green wall behind me, you'll be able to see and hear me, obviously, and the callers. But for all of the audio and the video and everything, you have to go to the other mainstream, which is linked in the description. All right, let's go. Welcome, everyone, to the Brian Craig Show. My name is Brian Craig. This is where MAGA comes to talk. Welcome, one and all. So, President Trump has ridden Chicago of so much crime. And I want to talk about this, and a lot is going on right now, okay? And before I get into what President Trump announced that he did in Chicago, if you're on hold, stand by. I want to talk a little bit about Trump. What President Trump is doing, and this is true of both terms, by the way, but I want to focus in on this second term because that's what we're dealing with. And we had that 4-year auto-pen administration break in between the two. So I want to focus in on this second term. Every single thing that President Trump is doing is good for the American people in the United States. Everything. There's nothing that he's doing, there's nothing on his agenda that is not universally good for America, the United States of America, and Americans. And I always want to highlight, I'm not talking about Latin Americans, South Americans, Central Americans, North Americans. I'm talking about United States of Americans. And how anyone can disagree with all these good things that he's doing for the United States and for the people of the United States is beyond me to even comprehend. In the past, when there's been other presidents that are Republican, that I've supported, I can see how there are some things that are open for debate. Should there be military action in Iraq? Should there be a ground invasion of Afghanistan? Are these tax cuts really the right ones at this time? Are they big enough? Are they small enough? I get these things. Not that I agreed with the left or disagreed with the Republicans, but I can see that there's a debate with what the president is doing. By the way, Mike, just a $20 super chat. Thank you so much, Mike, for that super chat. With what Trump is doing in this second term, what can you point to that is not a good thing for the American people and the United States as a whole? And I think you'd be hard-pressed. I really do. You might try. You might have some talking point, but it'll fall flat. We've never had a president like this who's so unselfish. I was talking to a caller yesterday. I don't remember if it was on the morning show, my podcast yesterday afternoon. I don't know. I do so many shows. Sometimes I forget which one I said what on. But I was talking to a caller. It was yesterday. I was talking to a caller yesterday. And here we are in President Trump's second term. Usually what presidents are doing in their second term, they'll tell you, oh, they're building their legacy. That's nonsense. Usually what presidents are doing in their second term is setting themselves up in a post-presidency to be rich so they can buy a massive mansion on the ocean like the Obamas have, right? Not President Trump. He's already made his money the old-fashioned way. He earned it. He's a billionaire many times over. And what he is doing is not to enrich himself. It's to make this country a better place for the American people. And first, he virtually wiped out most crime in D.C. Liberals opposed it. One big story that's gotten really zero press coverage, when he rid D.C. of crime with the federal surge there and the National Guard, the media, the Democrats, the never-Trumpers, the usual suspects of lowlifes and creeps, they said, well, when are you going to go to a red state? He went to a red state. He found a blue city in a red state that had high crime. There's not a lot of red cities out there, major cities that have high crime, but he found a blue city in a red state that was high in crime, Memphis, Tennessee. He sent the National Guard and federal agents into Memphis, Tennessee, and he has found over 100 missing children, which is amazing in itself. If that's all he did, that would be like, wow, give this guy the Nobel Prize just for that. But he also rid it of crime, the worst: murderers, rapists, robbers, carjackers, the list goes on. And he made an announcement about Chicago yesterday on Truth Social. President Trump wrote this: I am proud to announce that Chicago, Illinois, despite all of the radical opposition and obstruction we have from the mayor and the governor, has seen car theft, shootings, robberies, violent crime, and everything else drop dramatically since the launch of the Department of Homeland Security Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago only weeks ago. Shootings are down 35%, robberies are down 41%, and carjackings are down almost 50%. And this is with just a small initial federal force, not the full surge we have done in Chicago and Memphis. As we ramp up more assets, these numbers will continue to drop. This has been achieved despite the extraordinary resistance from Chicago and Illinois radical Democrat leadership and the constant violent left-wing terrorism against ICE officers and federal agents that insurrectionist Democrat officials, he says, refuse to stop or prosecute, including constant physical assault and attempted assassination. So how could anyone be against this? He shut down almost all crime in D.C., very violent city. He shut down almost all violent crime in Memphis, a very violent city. And crime is down as much as 50% in certain instances in Chicago. Now, there's still a lot of crime in Chicago. He hasn't done the full surge. How could you be against any of this? What's going on with the government shutdown, which everything is being taken care of, House is voting, everything will be back to normal soon enough. With the EBT, yeah, there's some short-term suffering on a lot of things, but this TikTok attention span generation that wants everything in 3 seconds done, like it's some Vine video or something. Remember Vine? That's just not going to be the way it is. There's some short-term suffering, and look at what's been exposed with EBT. Massive fraud. Massive fraud. Able-bodied people receiving thousands of dollars a month in SNAP benefits. And they're bragging about it online. So there's going to be major reform there. The American people are the hardest working people in the world. Take the fewest vacations, work the longest hours, produce the most, and we're the richest country in the world. With the largest economy in the world. And people work too hard to support a bunch of freeloaders. So I ask you guys out there, what is President Trump doing policy-wise, talking policy-wise, that any good red-blooded American could be against. And I'm here to tell you there's nothing. Now, let's hear your thoughts on this. The number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. It's a toll-free call no matter where you're watching. If you're watching live, the number is pinned in the live chat, 888-465-2631. And I'm going to announce this once or twice today. Those of you that are Patreon supporters, I did a live stream. If you're a Patreon supporter, by the way, you get access to a lot of exclusive materials. And one of the things is I do Patreon-only live streams on the Patreon platform itself. They're just like on YouTube, but there's no trolls. It's a troll-free zone. I did a live stream yesterday that I will be deleting later this morning, and I revealed something about something that I'm not even going to hint to. So if you're a Patreon supporter and you've not yet watched that live stream, go and watch it because I will be deleting it this morning. You won't want to miss it. And if you become a Patreon supporter, you can see that if you get there before I delete it. There's a link in the description of the video to my Patreon page. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Daniel Hutt from Goodman, Missouri.
All right, Daniel in Missouri. What's on your mind?
Well, not much. I just seen the live say, call in. What do you think about Trump? I think he's the best president we've ever had. We're lucky to have him.
Well,
he's turned our country around.
That's right. I agree with everything you said. He's the best. He's arguably the best president this country has ever had, going back to George Washington.
Oh, for sure. I can't believe that people can't see that, like, and get a grip on reality. Like, he's not Hitler. He's not all these bad things that people say. It's just, I can't even believe how people think about this man. It's crazy.
Well, that's what I was talking about here. There's not a single thing about President Trump, and just keep it to the second term because we don't need to go. This guy's been a public person for 50 years. We don't need to go through. If you just look at his policies in his second term, what is one thing he's done that a single law-abiding, red-blooded American could say is not a good thing for this country and for the people?
I don't know any. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's done an excellent job in my eyes. And like I said, I don't think the man gets enough thanks or praise. I mean, if you took people, that are old now or gone, they would be so happy to have a president like him and how he's taken our country, how he's a patriot.
Yeah.
It's just like we're living in another world anymore. People, the way they think, what they say, and he's done. See, he's done many things. One of the things he's done is he's exposed the Republican Party before him as a fraud that never intended on doing anything. He's overturned Roe v. Wade, shut down the border, done mass deportations, taken the war on drugs to the cartels in South America and the Pacific and Atlantic Ocean, blowing their boats out of the water. I mean, what he has done all the things that Republicans said they were going to do and never had any intention on doing them. Right.
And we're amazing. We're so blessed to have him as our president.
We truly are. Like I said, I wish everybody could see that. Like, it amazes me that, we're full of a world of, smarter people, but it's like I don't know. I can't even explain it. Just, he's a good president, bottom line. It's not a second thought about it. I mean,
no,
I don't know.
Not at all. Well, hey, listen, welcome to the show, and make sure you subscribe, all right?
Yes, will do.
All right, take care. Yeah, those of you that are new, you will love my content. I host a morning radio show, which is going to begin in a few minutes. This is the pre-show. Now, remember, guys, those of you out there that are regular watchers know this early show is, of course, brought to you by MyPillow. I'm trying to make that a permanent arrangement. So make sure you do your Christmas shopping at MyPillow.com. There's huge sales going on right now. We'll take a quick break and be right back. Yeah, and you guys, I know you guys have been supporting My Pillow. Please continue to do that because, I got a month-by-month thing going on here, and I'm going to, again, try to make that a permanent thing after the first, sponsoring this early show that I've been doing. So it's promo code Kane, Kane, at checkout. So, you look at this, this massive drop in crime, shootings down 35%. So how you think about it? How many lives have been saved? I got a sneeze coming on. I apologize in advance. How many lives have been saved by President Trump? Right? He's ended how many wars? 8 wars. I'm fighting back a sneeze. Hold on. It's the cold weather in Florida. It's in the low 50s, which is icicle time for us here in Florida. So I apologize. He's ended 8 wars. He's overturned Roe v. Wade, and murders and shootings are down dramatically in Chicago, Washington, D.C., and Memphis, Tennessee. How many lives has he saved just by ridding D.C. and Memphis of most of the crime and having a major impact on the shootings and robberies in Chicago without even a full force there? Dozens. There are so many people. And if you add in the wars and the overturning of Roe v. Wade, President Trump has, without question, saved millions of lives. Without question. It's not even up for debate. All right, we'll be coming on the air soon. I got to get my stuff ready. This weather, and that's why I say, who could be against any of that? Crazy people, anarchists, lunatics, the mentally ill. You really have to be mentally ill or hate this country to oppose these good things that President Trump is doing. And, he's ridding these blue cities of crime. Why should any American be living in a city where criminals are running it? Right? And the Democrats are angry at him that he's ridding their cities of crime and stopping their people from being victimized by these violent criminals. It's insane. Less than a minute and we'll be live. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you want to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live chat. All right, stand by. Can't believe it's Wednesday already. Welcome to the program, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You are listening to Florida's longest running radio show. That's the Steve Kane Show. On the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. Callers on hold, stand by. We got a lot to cover on the program today, and I want to go over something I started in the pre-show online. President Trump, he made a decision in this second term that Americans that live in these Democrat-run cities are no longer going to be victims of crime. We have these cities around the country, blue cities, that are majority minority in residency, and they're run by Democrats. They've been run by Democrats forever and a day. And violent crime just runs these cities. The people that live in them know no other life other than death, destruction, and crime. So they don't even understand that there's a better way. The Democrats that run these cities allow the crimes to continue, do nothing to stop it. And President Trump said, just because you live in some Democrat-run city doesn't mean you are going to fear for your life and be risking your life every time you go to work or go to the store or you take your kids to school. So he sent federal agents and the National Guard into the streets of D.C. and have virtually wiped out crime. Can't have zero crime. That's impossible, but it's pretty close to it. And man, oh man, the fake news media, the never-Trumpers, and the Democrats were furious. How dare you stop these murderers, rapists, and carjackers? How dare you? And then after they were mad at him for doing it, then they said, well, why don't you go into some red city where there's a lot of crime? Well, I don't know any red cities that have crime waves going on in them. So, and that became obvious. So they stopped saying red cities and said, well, when are you going to go to a red state? So President Trump found a blue city and a red state, Memphis, Tennessee. He sent federal agents and the National Guard to Memphis, Tennessee, and it was like Chicago and D.C. so far as the crime there. He has virtually wiped out almost all violent crime in the city of Memphis. This is getting next to zero coverage in the media. They don't want you to know about it. And he sent in a small team of federal agents into Chicago through the Department of Homeland Security and ICE. And we got the latest crime stats, and the president announced them on Truth Social yesterday. So let me read this. This is President Trump's post to Truth Social. By the way, welcome everyone. If you're on hold, stand by. If you'd like to call in, the number is toll-free 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. President Trump posted this to Truth Social. I am proud to announce that Chicago, Illinois, despite all of the radical opposition and obstruction we have from the mayor and the governor, has seen car theft, shooting, robberies, violent crime, and everything else drop dramatically since the launch of the Department of Homeland Security Operation Midway Blitz in Chicago only weeks ago. Shootings are down 35%. Robberies are down 41%. Carjackings are down almost 50%. And this is with just a small initial federal force, not the full surge that he did in D.C. and Memphis. As we ramp up more assets, these numbers will continue to drop, President wrote. This has been achieved despite the extraordinary resistance from Chicago and Illinois, radical Democrat leadership, and the constant violent left-wing terrorism against ICE officers and federal agents that insurrectionist Democrat officials refuse to stop or prosecute, including constant physical assault and attempted assassination. That's the end of the post. How could someone be against shootings being down 35% in Chicago, robberies down 41%, carjackings down almost 50%? How could anyone be against that? Why would you be against that? This is amazing. None of these are getting the proper news coverage. You know, the crime wave wipeout in Memphis, I haven't even seen in the national news. I've read some stories online. I've seen people in Memphis that live there post on X and talk about it, but I haven't seen a national news story about it. They don't cover anything in DC involving crime unless there is a crime now, right? And this story in Chicago is getting no coverage. Very little coverage. How could you be against this? You know, Americans, no American should live in a crime-infested city. You know, we don't have crime in my town like this. You know why? Because we wouldn't tolerate it, right? If we were having carjackings and robberies and things in my neighborhood, the residents would stop it. We wouldn't tolerate it. I mean, I tell that story many years ago when I saw a kid steal the neighbor's bicycle. I called the police. They had 5 police cars respond to a bicycle theft by middle school kids. That we don't mess around, and people may laugh at that, but that's what we expect in my town, and that's how everyone should live in a town where you just assume you're not going to be a victim every time you walk out the front door of your house and walk to work or take your kids to school. Who could be against these things? And I'll take that a step further. You look at everything President Trump is doing in this glorious, exciting second and non-consecutive term. What is anything he is doing policy-wise that a rational, sane American could oppose? I'll take some calls here. Our number is 888-465-2631. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once, twice. All right. You missed your chance. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Doc from Texas.
Yay, Texas. What's on your mind?
Hey, man, good morning.
Hey.
How are you?
All right.
Hey, I want to tell you, I don't know if you saw, or any of your listeners saw yesterday what Barack Obama did yesterday when he greeted the veterans on the plane, and they were so happy to see him. And he saluted, they all saluted him. He saluted them back. He shook their hands when they got off the plane.
So what does that mean to you? What's the importance of that? So what, a celebrity unannounced gets on an airplane and people get excited?
A former president got on a plane and saluted veterans for Veterans Day yesterday.
Whoop-de-freaking-do. Whoop-de-freaking-do.
Okay, so you think that's wrong?
I don't think it's important. Here,
yes, it is important.
Right now, I want you to think about this. He's building this phallic symbol of a presidential museum in Chicago. What's he done for Chicago? President Trump, carjackings are down 50%. Shootings are down 35%. What has Obama
Trump
done?
Didn't do nothing for Chicago.
Yeah, he's sending federal agents.
Doing nothing for Chicago.
Shootings are down 35%.
They didn't need them because the Chicago police should have did their job.
So President Trump is saving black lives in Chicago. That doesn't matter.
I almost said a word, but
Barack Obama getting on a commercial jet, that's important to you? What's wrong with you?
No, what's wrong with you if you don't feel as on
President Trump has saved dozens of black lives in Chicago, Memphis, and Washington, D.C., and you're excited about Obama getting on an airplane?
Trump doesn't care about black lives.
Well, he's saving them. He's saving them, not Obama. What black lives did Obama save?
I'm trying not to cuss on this radio.
Well, don't cuss.
You won't have to cut me off.
Don't cuss.
But I'm tired of you sitting up there. Trump doesn't care about black lives. He doesn't care about white lives.
What's more important?
He doesn't care about nothing but making money for him.
What's more important? Sending in federal agents and having shootings down 35% in Chicago, or getting on a plane with some veterans for a publicity stunt? Which is more important?
They both were important, Brian.
Stopping people from getting shot and killed is equally important to getting on an airplane and waving. You are out of your mind. By the way,
you are. Mm-hmm. You come here every morning.
A celebrity greeting, he's a celebrity greeter, and that's equal to saving lives.
Of the United States. So you say Trump is a celebrity too?
You are mentally ill. You are mentally ill.
No, I'm not.
You're mentally
ill. No, I'm not, Brian. And
how can you equate a celebrity greeting on an airplane to stopping people from getting shot?
Barack Obama was the former president of the United States of America. He got on a plane yesterday and greeted veterans.
Tell me his greatest accomplishment as president, Obama.
One of the greatest accomplishments?
His greatest.
The greatest accomplishment, he had so many, I'm not going to even name them for you, brother.
Pick one. Just pick one of his accomplishments. His greatest.
The one that Trump is trying to get rid of now because he can't stand
You can't even think of one. President Trump is saving black lives in blue cities. Every day.
He doesn't kill. Brian, you call him cuss.
Every day, there's a person who's not shot or killed because of Trump in a blue city. And you can't think of one thing that Obama did. Get off the phone. Get off the phone. Obama has zero accomplishments. Oh, my goodness. That is really sad, isn't it? Is that not a sad man? I think that's a man. Yeah, it's a sad man. I'm looking at this article. Listen to this. New York Post. Florida locals are rushing to buy homes before the New Yorkers who are fleeing Mamdani's New York flood the market. Oh, my goodness. The Wednesday after Mamdani's victory, waterfront homes that might normally linger through Thanksgiving were instead moving into contract fast. This is the New York Post. Condos that had sat through the summer heat suddenly found themselves with multiple offers. The buyers are not hedge fund partners fresh off a flight. They're Miami, Boca, and Palm Beach residents who believe they had one window left before the New Yorkers come down here. Listen, real estate is hot. The New Yorkers are coming here. The locals are buying. Real estate is hot. This may be the hottest time in Florida real estate we've ever seen. Our newest sponsor here on the program is George Colony. I've known him his whole life. He didn't know me, but I've known him because he's been in real estate for decades. I've seen his name all over town my whole life as I grew up here in South Florida. Give George Colony a call. By the way, if you want to find out the value of your home, you want to list your home, you want to rent a home, any type of home, or you're looking to buy or rent, he can help you too. Give George Colony a call. And if you're coming from out of state, he can help you as well. This number rings directly to George Colony's cell phone. So you can call or text 954-801-7320. 954-801-7320. That's 954-801-7320. Give George Colony a call. My name is Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back with your calls. If you're watching with the green wall, if you go to my main stream, you can see and hear all the audio and video I share. All right. Yes, we will be back in less than a minute on the radio. So callers on hold, stand by. This is a radio station break. And I'll go to the phones when we get back. But you know, that last caller from Texas is let me ask you, is he mentally ill or just a racist? Because he told me that Obama getting on an airplane and doing a celebrity greeting is the equivalent to President Trump saving people's lives by not getting shot in Chicago or DC or Memphis. So what's the deal with that caller? Is he mentally ill? A racist? Both? The number is toll-free no matter where you're watching. This is where MAGA comes to talk. It's 888-465-2631. If you're on hold, stand by. We'll be back in about 10 seconds. I'm going to go right back to the phones. 888-465-2631. Stand by. You're on the air. What's your name? Oh, hold on. We got, okay. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
David from Chicago.
Hey, David. How you doing?
Hi. I guess before I get into the points that you're saying if there's anything we disagree with Trump, like policy-wise, right? That's the issue we're talking about specifically.
Yeah.
I want to preface it with the thing that the media itself is obviously lying about him when they say he's racist, that he actually supported Jesse Jackson for his presidential bid.
Correct.
The idea that he's racist when he had, a black girlfriend, when he was financing, if you see, there's a Judge Joe Brown interview where he's talking about how Trump helped a whole bunch of black entrepreneurs when they couldn't get a loan.
Yep.
And, the whole lies about the Charlottesville speech when they were saying that he's supporting a white supremacist when he clearly said that he's against them in that speech, on and on and on. It's clear and obvious that the left is, trying to defame him and make up lies basically about him.
That's right.
But the trend that's alarming to me that I see among, us on the right is that we don't acknowledge, like, not everyone, but a larger portion growing. We don't acknowledge some of the stuff that he's done that is wrong.
Really?
Like, for example, when he said that he wouldn't touch the East Wing, to demolish the ballroom, which I think he shouldn't have done it. But regardless, he shouldn't have.
He should never have done
demolished
that.
the East Wing.
Okay, now you're calling me from Chicago. What do you do for a living?
Yeah.
What do you do for a living?
Right now, I'm not doing anything.
Okay, but what's your chosen profession? Like when you are working, what did you do?
Well, previously I did hardwood flooring and then condo maintenance.
Okay, that's good. That's good hard work. You can do some good stuff. Well, you then that when a construction project is going on, things come up. Why do you think President Trump, when he said he wasn't going to, they ended up demolishing the entire East Wing? Why do you think that happened?
If there's any reason, I didn't hear one. I mean,
okay.
If you have one, then go ahead.
I have one I'm going to give you. But many people like you believe the East Wing is so sacred and important. What was the East Wing? Why was it so important, and why do you think it shouldn't have been demolished for this new ballroom?
Well, I mean, it had a function. Otherwise, it wouldn't have been built. And I mean,
but you don't know what the function was. You don't know what the function was?
No. I mean, I'm assuming they didn't build it for no reason.
It had a tiny little ballroom, very tiny, set like 70 people in it, and the rest of it was just offices, basically. But and it's not that old. It's not. It hasn't been there since the White House was built. But the reason I believe we've gotten some information, the underneath the East Wing is the presidential bunker. The bunker, we've heard about the bunker where the presidents go in a nuclear strike.
Yeah.
It's under the East Wing, and it was built like in 1948 when Truman was president. It is tiny, it is out of date and non-functional. And what it looks like is happening is the East Wing and the ballroom construction is a cover operation to build a new modern bunker that the government can operate from, that can withstand the types of attacks that exist today. We're on a war footing with Russia right now, and it's a cover. They have to tear down the East Wing to build this new bunker. They didn't think they were going to have to do it, but they had to.
Okay, I could say, okay, that might be a good reason, but he shouldn't have said, though, that it wouldn't affect the East Wing.
Well, you're calling me from Chicago. I opened the show by sharing President Trump dropped yesterday, Operation Midway Blitz. He sent some federal agents from Homeland Security to Chicago. Shootings are down 35%, robberies down 41%,
That's good. Yeah.
Carjackings are down almost 50%, and you're concerned about a part of a building that you don't know the function of.
No, I'm
in
not.
D.C., not the city. You're in Chicago. You're safer today because of President Trump. You should be thankful.
I agree.
You should be thankful and grateful.
I agree, but I mean, that's one of our responsibilities as citizens of this country, that, we do have to call out things that are done wrong for both parties. And I
but
think
you
the
don't know.
Democrats
You don't
are,
know what the function of that building was. So how do you know it wasn't the right thing to tear it down?
Well, regardless of the function, he shouldn't have said that he wouldn't touch it if he had the intention to.
Well,
he said he wouldn't touch it.
President Trump, who's as honest as the day is long, I promise you, when he said he didn't want to tear it down, he wasn't going to tear it down, he had every intention to not tear it down, and then they found out they had to tear it down.
Okay, I can accept that if he never had the intention to, and something came up. We all make mistakes of that kind. So I guess in that.
What kind of accent do you? You have an accent. What kind of accent is this? It's not a Chicago accent.
You know what? It's funny because everybody tells me that, and I was born here, but my parents are from Romania.
Oh, okay.
And it's weird.
So you have a bit of the Romanian accent mixed in with a bunch of others.
I'm assuming that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay.
I guess the other thing that I don't quite agree with him on when it comes to policies is why is no one? I mean, once again, you can probably see a reason in this. Is why they don't acknowledge officially the sovereignty of Taiwan. Like that for me, we did keep on sidestepping
because it could start World War III.
Ignite a war.
It could start World War III.
Quite possibly.
During his first term, during the lockdowns and shutdowns, there was a live press conference, and he almost said China did it on purpose, and he stopped himself, and he says, "Oh, I can't say that if I." This is what he said. He said, "If I say that," this was live. He says, "If I say that, people are going to expect me to do something I don't want to do, which would be a nuclear strike on China." So no, he doesn't. We don't. Taiwan calls itself China. Okay, that's why mainland China, because Taiwan is China, free China. If we recognized it as China and all of that stuff, it could cause the Third World War, and millions of people could die in a nuclear confrontation. I think that's a good reason not to do it, right?
Yeah, I can definitely.
Hey, listen, I got to run, but thanks. I got to take a break, but thanks for the call. All right. First generation American in Chicago, shootings down 35%, robberies down 41%, carjackings down 50%. Yet he calls me concerned about the tearing down of a building whose function he doesn't even know what it was. But that's where his mind is. Oh my goodness. Call us on hold. You stand by. My name is Brian Craig. This is the Steve Kane Radio Show. We'll be right back. All right, I'll take a call or two during the break. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yeah, good morning. This is Richie.
Hey, Richie.
I'm not gonna cuss. Okay, so you don't have to worry about me cussing this morning.
Yeah, like that guy. That guy. He was just trying to get out of the conversation, so he was threatening to swear. So I'd have to end it for him.
Well, here's the deal. I have a poll here that from Georgia. It just came out. The most important things to Democrats and Republicans, and it says it all. Crime, Democrats basically don't care about crime. It's like 1% of an issue. Republicans, it's like 12%. I have all of it down, so I don't want to bore you with it. But the most important thing to Democrats, not the economy, not crime, not anything. You know what the most important thing is to them?
What?
To stand up to
Trump,
Donald Trump, and
to stop him from stopping crime.
MAGA Republicans, and ahead of crime, ahead of everything. I mean, this is a poll. It's amazing. It's a poll out of Georgia, and it's AJC poll, and I mean it's amazing. They run down all the different things. There's a major difference between what Democrats think and what we think.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's crazy. So you're fighting crazy people. The most important thing to them is standing up to Trump, and it showed that. It showed that with this shutdown. How can you look? He's ending crime in these blue cities at levels that no one even thought was possible, and they're angry at him. They want to. Their number one goal is to stop President Trump from stopping crime.
Well, their number one goal is electing a maniac for a mayor.
A maniac
who's so out of it that he doesn't know what to do. That the guy is a moron.
They want to have a maniac for president too. You know, they want to have a maniac president, maniac Congress people. They just want to have maniacs running everything.
The whole party is full of degenerate, and I'm going to say it because I don't care if they call up and say I'm a nut job. The guy from Jersey's a degenerate. Jay from Jersey. Renee from Harlem is a degenerate. Yeah, they're all degenerates.
Yes.
They're so sick.
You're correct.
In their mental capacity, and they're not informed. That's the most important thing.
All of these things are true.
Anything.
Yeah, all of these things are true.
They don't know what's going on in the country.
All right, Richie, I gotta move on, but I appreciate the call. Take care. Thanks for the info. If you're on hold, stand by. You know, it is Medicare open enrollment period, the one time of year you can make changes to your Medicare policy. So if you're a Medicare recipient, call Chapter. The number's in the description of the video. It's also on your screen, 805-754-3033. They can help you no matter where you're located in the United States. They cover all 50 states. They'll review your policy. It costs you nothing. When you call the number, you're going to get a live agent on the phone. So, yeah, you will. So if you've not heard back from an agent, or, you know, even if you're happy with your policy, give them a call. Nationwide, a lot of companies are pulling out of Medicare altogether. So you want to make sure your policy is still in effect. You know, the average Chapter client saves $1,100 a year on their Medicare. That's right. And millions of seniors aren't even receiving their full Medicare benefits. Call Chapter, 805-754-3033. 805-754-3033. You'll get a live agent on the phone. No matter what state you're in, they can help you with your Medicare. Remember, when open enrollment's over, that's it. Can't make changes. You're stuck with what you got. 805-754-3033. Call is on hold. Stand by. We'll be back in less than a minute. This weather change in Florida is just, rough. $20 seconds. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
This is Mike from Louisiana.
Hey, Mike.
You know, think about this. The president's policies have largely turned the people of Chicago against Brandon Johnson.
Yeah, I agree with that. No doubt about it. Hold on, let me answer all these lines. I lost Mike. I forgot what line he's on. Is he on this one? Is this you, Mike?
Oh, boy.
I got you, Mike.
Yes, this is me.
Oh boy.
Me, yeah.
Oh boy, don't worry. You didn't go anywhere. I heard a little anxiety there. You said, oh boy. No, you're right. And what's going to happen next year's election year in these blue cities, they're going to wake up and say, hey, there's no crime here because of Trump. And there's going to be blue cities where Republicans are going to get elected that people thought it was hopeless because Trump is ridding these cities of crime. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from? You're on the air. Once.
Hi, are you talking to me?
Yeah, hold on one second. Yeah, I most... yes, I am talking to you. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Okay, perfect. Good morning. My name is Marilyn McConnell, and I'm calling from Arcadia, Florida, but I lived in Chicago on and off since 1986. So
oh, okay.
I think you were... nobody loves President Trump more than I do. I think he is the greatest president we've ever had, and I'm very concerned, though. I don't understand why recently he said, hey, the Epstein files, everybody should just get over it. You know, why are people still obsessed with it? I think people are still upset because arrests have not been made, and it just seems there should have been some arrests made already. I'm just wondering what you think about that.
First off, Epstein has been dead for how many years? How many years?
Oh, many.
Okay, many years. Okay. Second, before that was years ago, but years before that, he was put out of commission with all of his creepy behavior, right? So you're talking about these.
Yeah, it's not about him. It's all the people that he was associated with.
Excuse me. Hold on a second. So you're talking about a creepy ring that has been out of commission for a decade at least, right? Now, so far as the files, now you're old enough.
No, the rings aren't out of commission.
Excuse me. I'm making a point here with you. So you're old enough to remember all the Kennedy assassination stuff, right?
Well, I was a child then, but yeah.
Yeah, okay. Well, a few months ago, President Trump released finally, all of the Kennedy files a few months ago. Do you remember what they found in them?
I not specifically, no.
They found there was nothing in them. There have been people have written.
Well, Bobby Kennedy certainly thinks there are some things in them.
No, not in the JFK files. There was nothing in them. They were all released months ago, and you haven't heard any of the Kennedy sleuths release anything. And why do you think that is? Why do you think the Kennedy files had nothing about the deep state conspiracy or anything to kill Kennedy? Why do you think that is?
I have no idea.
Well, criminals don't document their crimes and file them away. That's one. Second, President Trump talked about the Epstein files a few months ago, okay? And what he said was this. He said they were being used as blackmail by the government and the deep state against people, and there's all kinds of names in there that had nothing to do with Epstein. And to release all those files would slander and harm people that had no connection to Jeffrey Epstein. That's why.
Oh, well, yes, you could have said that immediately. That's a decent answer. I wish he would elaborate on that.
He did. He's multiple times. But what is he supposed to come out and talk about Epstein every day? I'm sure that's what you never Trumpers would like him to do. Oh my goodness. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning, Brian. Chris from Pompano Beach.
Hey, Chris.
It's amazing. This broken record that always comes up of those who are still stuck on being told and
well,
sold.
first off, you gotta question those in Florida. Most people in Florida have never heard of Arcadia, but I'll tell you this: you've got to question the reasoning skills of anyone that lives in Arcadia, Florida. Who the hell would move to Florida and live in Arcadia?
Yeah.
I mean, that's I'd rather live in Lakeland, all right, than Arcadia. But that woman was not MAGA. People that call and mention Epstein are fake MAGA.
No, exactly, and that goes to show what I was saying. They're just holding on to anything negative. They're listening to the left, and they're holding out. When you ask something like, let's say, Barack Obama's accomplishments, well, all they can say is that, hey, I feel good about him having a D next to his name, that he's black, and even those have negative connotations because, again, I remind a lot of people his mother was white. Mm-hmm. Got to give her some credit. So he's not, to me, he's not our first black president. His mother is white, and this whole thing with the military. Listen, he lots of destruction in the military. First of all, taken away. Don't ask, don't tell. And now look what we're going through with all the feminazi and everything else.
Obama did that thing on the airplane because he was feeling sad and lonely, and he wanted to feel loved. So he got on a commercial jet. So he could get some love, because he's certainly not getting that from Michelle. Every time she goes on a podcast, all she talks about is how terrible their marriage is and life is. So his personal life and marriage are a wreck.
Use his own words. He wants to be relevant. Again, you're right. The celebrity isn't anything else with it. So no, I mean, he's not relevant. I knew he wouldn't be. Most of it is because he was not a working president.
Well, he did bring, it seems, millions of Muslims to this country, and they're wrecking they're doing all kinds of damage.
That's the other thing with his citizenship. Come on, we all know about his father being from Africa, and then for that note, even because I believe the grandmother when she says he was born over there, but he was also raised outside by the next man over in Indonesia. So his love and loyalty was not to America, and his agenda was clear. And he's been very negative for this country. So all these people holding on to these little things, question that, read into that a little bit instead of listening to Whoopi Goldberg and everybody else that wants to keep it negative. And they don't want to give President Trump credit, but they have to, because on a daily basis, the man is working 5 times harder than any other president.
That's right.
And it's for the benefit of everyone in America. The man is not racist. The man, he's working for everyone. So, these people are lunatics, and they really have to get over themselves. Yeah. And it's clear.
And that one guy, a black Democrat, I asked him to give me Obama's greatest accomplishment, and he threatens to cuss. He wants to cuss because he can't think of any. So he wants me to hang up on him to try to save him.
And he doesn't have any great accomplishments, so he just needs to look into that. I don't know. You know what they used to say: if you want to keep anything from certain people, put it in a book. They're told and sold. They don't look for anything from themselves, but it's obvious from everything from the great things that President Trump's doing every day.
His big accomplishment really was this major Muslim immigration to the United States. That's in private. That's what he would probably tell you was his greatest accomplishment. What a disappointment!
Absolutely.
You would have thought that being the first black president, regardless of your definition, he's people view him as black. He'll always have that in history. Being the first black president of the United States, he could have been somebody. He could have been a contender, and look what he was: an anti-American creep whose legacy has very well led to this idiot mayor of New York City and the squad.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
No, right. It's sad, but they're
is.
just hanging on every word of negativity out there, and that's why the Democrat Party. Stop calling them Democratic people out there. They're no Democrat. They're not Democratic. They're very intolerant, and they're tearing down the country. And they call them communists and socialists if you call them anything, but don't call them Democratic.
All right, Chris. I got to run, but take care. Appreciate the call. All right, you're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. This is Stephanie from the Smoky Mountains in Tennessee.
Stephanie in the Smoky Mountains of Tennessee. What's on your mind?
Well, a couple things. One reason I think the Democrat Party and a lot of the people are going like a little bit strange, shall we say, is they got rid of math class, basically. They give calculator to math class. Math teaches logic and reasoning capabilities.
Yes, that's true.
So the brain is a muscle. They have not exercised their brain.
Yeah.
So how easy is it to manipulate people like that?
That's a good point.
The second thing, I'd like to respond to the lady from Arcadia.
Yes.
About the Epstein thing. I actually think they're still doing some investigation, a la his ranch in Mexico. Now, rumor has it, I've been reading about it.
I'm not talking about Epstein at all. Okay, that's just not. That's what. I appreciate the call, but that's what the Never Trumpers want us to do. Don't you get it? That's a distraction. All right. One of our regular, longtime listeners and callers, Nick in Baltimore, made a big mistake. He's in Baltimore, Maryland. He was having some back trouble, and he went and had surgery. And he called me on my podcast yesterday. He's in so much pain, and he's suffering. And if you listen to my podcast yesterday afternoon, he said, I wish I would have gone to see Dr. Appleton. And he was begging people in the audience to not get back surgery if the doctor tells them before they go see Dr. Appleton. If you have a surgery scheduled or been told you have a surgery scheduled for back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain, any of these types of things, go see Dr. Appleton. The consultation is free. Sit down with him and he'll explain what the robotic laser away pain treatment can do for you and have the treatment. What do you got to lose? I have never known now this is just me, this is anecdotal, but I've known a lot of people in my life. I've never known a guy that's had back surgery, knee surgery, or shoulder surgery for pain that when they had the surgery was not in more pain. They have the surgery for the pain, they get the surgery, and it gives them more pain. And then they tell me they got another surgery scheduled or 2 more surgeries scheduled. It's insanity. And not to knock those doctors, they went to medical school and learned how to cut people open and do surgery. They don't know about the laser away pain treatment. That's just not their training. Give Dr. Appleton a call, 954-973-0710. And by the way, if you've had surgery and are still in pain, you go see Dr. Appleton too. It may not be too late for you. 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are always welcome, even on Saturdays with Dr. Appleton. And online, AppletonChiro.com. We'll be right back. All right, guys, if you're on hold, hang in there. We'll take a quick break. Let's see. Okay. All right, we're back. I'm Brian Craig. It is the Steve Kane Show. Callers on hold, stand by. This is Florida's longest running radio show. Okay, another thing I want to mention. These people are having meltdowns. President Trump mentioned in passing the other day something about a 50-year mortgage. And, there's panic, and this is a terrible idea. Now, a couple things about this. When you're talking about real estate and you're talking about financing and mortgages, this is President Trump's expertise. That's how he made most of his money. And I just don't understand why people think a 50-year mortgage is such a bad idea. Most people, either have a 20 or 30-year mortgage, but there's other mortgages you can get. There's 5 and 10 and 15-year. He talked about a 40-year mortgage, and Laura Ingraham said that doesn't exist, but it does, by the way. I didn't know that, but there's 40-year mortgages. But this 50-year mortgage, so what? With car loans, when people finance a car, it used to be either 3 or 5 years, and then they added 6 years. And there's even an option for 7 years. Now, the longer you finance, the more interest there is, and you're paying more, but your monthly payment is lower. Now, I probably wouldn't do a 50-year mortgage, but I don't understand why people are having such meltdowns over this 50-year mortgage. It's not a requirement. You don't even need a mortgage. If the next house I buy it will probably be when I move off to the retirement community, and I'll sell my house and pay cash for the next one, right? Most people don't do what I do. They stay in a house for 5 or so years, and then sell their house and move into a new house, upgrade or something. I've been in my house for over 20 years. Most people don't do that. Some do, but most don't. And people, when they do financing, like car financing, okay? Somebody gets a 6 or 7 year loan. On a lot of cars, maybe that doesn't make sense. But, the reason people buy new cars most of the time is reliability. They need to have a reliable vehicle to get them to and from work. That's when you buy a new car, that's what you're paying for, reliability, right? And the reason someone would finance for 6 or 7 years, which I wouldn't be my first choice, but people do it, is to get the payment lower so they can afford a car that's reliable. But it's still an option. You're not required to do it. Same goes with this mortgage thing, the 50-year mortgage. Whether it's a good idea or not, it's not a requirement. You can still get a 5, 10, 15, 20, or 30-year mortgage. You don't have to get the 50-year mortgage if that becomes possible. And I think the outrage over it, it's just Trump derangement syndrome. That's all. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Good morning. How you doing? This is Maria from Florida.
Hey, Maria.
Hey, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm great. Instead, I want to knock somebody side of the head, but no, I'm just playing.
Yeah, I know what you mean. It's frustrating listening to these people. I know.
Yeah, it's really bad because I was listening yesterday. I also listened to you late yesterday, and you was right on point about everything. And Trump is doing an awesome job, but he got these people call themselves MAGA people or his supporters, and they just turn against him. And my main critic is Marjorie Taylor Greene. That woman, she irks my nerve. She irks my nerve because I'm watching her, and she's all over the left mainstream media, and she just spewing out lies about the president, and I couldn't believe it. And she did it again yesterday. And
what did she say?
What
did she say yesterday? Was she responding to President Trump's criticism of her, that comment, or was there something else?
No, that one, and she was like, well, no, he's not telling the truth. The price is not down. Everything is so high. And since he's been elected, everything went up, and Obama subsidies need to be approved, and we have to do it.
Let me tell you, some will think this is sexist, but women can be very difficult in the workplace. And I'm going to tell you, there was... Bobby Kennedy was talking the other day about something to do with the taking certain warnings off of the female hormones for menopause.
Right.
And, I personally believe that menopause is one of the number one causes of divorce. Okay?
Oh, of course.
And I'm not trying to be funny or sexist, but, you know what I mean, because you've been through it, or, and women.
Yeah.
When women are going through menopause, they're not rational a lot of times. And they say and do things that it's like insanity. And this new thing Bobby Kennedy's doing will save a lot of marriages and a lot of misery in general. Maybe this is what's going on with Marjorie Taylor Greene. I don't know what's going on. Is it menopause? AOC, and I've never, she's not a great source, AOC, all right? But AOC said last week or the other day, she said, and this could be gossip in Congress, and there may be some truth to it. She's in that circle. She said Marjorie Taylor Greene's upset with President Trump because he ended her dream of running for the Senate. She wanted to be the senator from Georgia, and he stopped that, and she's angry. But it could be that and menopause. she's the menopausal age.
Yeah. But you know what? I honestly, I've been watching it, and ever since she did that press conference with the Jeffrey Epstein story, because I wouldn't call it a hoax, but I call it a big scam.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying?
Yes.
And ever since she did that, I had a problem with that. I had a big problem with that because me being a woman, I can tell you right now, you don't come out like that and do a press conference if you're a victim. So my thing it is that I looked at, yeah, she played a game and she's hanging around the wrong people, and she is hanging around the Democrats.
Well, I'm not ready to dump her yet because I'm waiting for her to be redeemed. You know, when Bragg arrested President Trump, she flew to Mar-a-Lago and traveled with him to New York. She's always been good to us. I don't know what's going on now. Menopausal, and I'm not trying to be funny or sexist. I'm not. That could be a factor here. It really, truly could.
Well, yeah, because she just went through a divorce, right? So, I mean, that can be one of the main reasons why that she's having this mental crisis, because that's what I call it. I wouldn't go against her now, but I'm just saying, I'm watching it, and I'm reserving everything, and I'm saying to myself, oh, my God, come on, are you kidding me? Because I think she's one of Trump's best supporter that he ever had. And I think she just, for some reason, it could be menopause, it could be something that's bothering her.
Well, let me tell you, the way she's behaving is not rational. She's just not, she doesn't seem rational to me.
Yeah, true.
And I don't mean going on these. There's nothing wrong with her going on The View. I don't mean that. But she's been very, very nasty towards the president, and it's just not rational.
Yeah, that is true. I do believe that. I just think, at the end of the day, I just say, I hope she comes to her turn very soon, because the president, he's not. Sooner or later, he's gonna blow, and I'm just praying and hope that she.
Well, this is what I monitor. Okay, her boyfriend is Brian Glenn. He used to be with Right Side. Now he's with. I forgot who he's with now. Oh boy, somebody can tell me who. But he's in the White House press corps, and President Trump always pretty much gives him the first question. And they're getting along. So as long as President Trump's getting along with Brian Glenn, that means Marjorie Taylor Greene, she can come back. If I see President Trump give the cold shoulder to Brian Glenn, then I'll start to wonder what's going on.
Right. Yeah, you're right about that. I was just concerned because the way she bashing him, and he's doing everything he can to get the country right. He can't control what the Democrats going to do. None of us can.
Yes.
None of us can control what the Democrats and where their mindset at. And like now, when I was looking at it last night, they trying to make a fight in Congress to passing this bill to open up the government. I'm like, you guys are so crazy.
Yeah.
So
well, listen, Maria, I appreciate the call. I got to run, but I appreciate the call. Okay. And I'll throw that out to you guys. I mean, do you agree, MAGA people, with Marjorie Taylor Greene? She's not behaving rationally at all. And that's why I say maybe it's menopause. Very well could be. She left her husband. That's true. A lot of midlife going on there. And that midlife and menopause is a crazy time for women. And for us men, too, it can be. I want to talk about Coastal Weight Loss Secret. You guys have watched my miraculous weight loss. I mean, you can really see it in my face and my neck and my chin. And I've never been on any type of weight program before. And I was a little nervous about doing it because I've never been on. And then it was so easy. No exercise, eating foods I would normally eat. That's what I was really worried about. I'm a very picky eater. I'm so picky, you guys would be shocked at the things I will not eat. But I ate foods I would normally eat through the whole process, even still today. No exercise, no shots, no pills, and it's great. No major lifestyle changes. For months now, I've been in the maintain phase. I have not gained a single ounce back. You have time to lose that weight before the Thanksgiving and the holiday party, so you look great. For the holiday season, call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation, 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, hour number 2 begins in just seconds. We'll be right back. Call Coastal Weight Loss Secret and schedule your no-charge consultation. 561-247-6300. 561-247-6300. That's 561-247-6300. And online, coastalweightlossecret.com. All right, hour number 2 begins in just seconds. We'll be right back.
WQAM 104.3 HD3 Miramar, WFLM 104.7 HD3 Palm Beach Shores, and heard in Broward on 96.9 FM, Boca Raton on 95.3 FM, West Palm Beach on 95.9 FM, and in Martin County on 106.9 FM. We are South Florida's home for the true oldies channel.
Well, the 35-second delay. I was just checking the delay. 35 seconds. All right, we'll be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, stand by. Okay. Okay, we'll be back in about a minute, guys. Stay tuned. I've got another story that the media will not cover. If you'd like to call in, the toll-free number is pinned in the live stream. So I was texting with the radio station. Oh, boy. If you'd like to call in, the number is pinned in the live chat. It's toll-free, 888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. Sometimes I take the calls during the break, but I got to rest sometimes my voice a little bit. My jaws are getting tired. Okay, here we go. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest-running radio show on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you'd like to call in, please do. Our number is toll-free, 1-888-465-2631, 888-465-2631. Here's another story that the media don't want to cover. ICE arrested and is deporting a white woman. That's right. Not much coverage of this. Sanctuary, California, ICE arrest illegal alien convicted of torture and murder in Moldova, which somehow somewhere borders around Ukraine. She's not only white, she has blonde hair. She's getting deported. ICE arrested an illegal alien in the sanctuary state of California who was convicted of torture and murder in her native Moldova. Her name is Victoria, and boom, she's going back. Yes. So they can do away with their talking point that they only deport black and brown people. She's as white as I am, and she's getting deported to go do her time in Moldova, which I'm not sure how. I think Moldova is that a landlocked country? I don't know. All right, let's go. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hi, my name is Teresa. I'm calling from Charleston, West Virginia.
Hey, what's up, West Virginia?
Oh, nothing. We've already had to deal with snow, which...
Oh, boy.
Of course,
that's
a nightmare in West Virginia. Yeah, a lot. It sucks bad. I'm very pleased with Trump. I love him.
Absolutely.
I would vote for him.
How could you not?
Again and again.
How could you not?
But I could not. I have every time. I am worried about the tariffs. I'm worried about what the Supreme Court is going to do with the tariff situation.
Yeah.
And, if he has to figure out how to give that money back, and it's just going to be a nightmare, I think.
It's not going to happen. The Supreme Court has been ruling in favor of Trump pretty much on everything of importance of the presidential powers. And this is part of it. And that's just not going to happen. It's nothing to worry about. I know they want you to worry about it.
Oral arguments, and the problem is that they're saying it's a revenue, and the president can't have, he doesn't control the purse. He can't impose any revenue creating action. So that's what worries me, because, they're saying, he says it's a tool to get it
involves foreign policy. It's foreign policy decision making. It's how you get foreign policy done. It's like moving a fleet group somewhere.
Do you think if they rule against him, he will just say, "Oh well, too bad"? I mean,
the Supreme Court. No, he won't. He will not go against the Supreme Court. But what would happen? The Supreme Court. What happens a lot of times? Okay, with Supreme Court rule. I'm not a lawyer. Okay, didn't go to law school or anything. But what happens a lot of times? They interpret the law. So say that he gets an unfavorable ruling from the Supreme Court. All that'll happen is that the Republican Congress, the House and the Senate, will just update the rules and laws and regulations allowing it. He's not going to give back $1 trillion to these countries that have been ripping us off.
Yeah,
no,
you're right.
I would expect the ruling to be in his favor, and if it's not, they'll fix it in Congress. Don't worry about it. We can control the Congress.
I hope it is. I mean, he has had. I think there's been one ruling against him, and it wasn't really a loss. I also hope the birthright citizen. I hope that goes away.
That one's a little tricky. I don't know about that. I agree. The birthright citizenship was not intended to get knocked up in some other country, fly in and drop a baby, and all of a sudden, that's not.
It's an American citizen.
That's correct. I mean, you should at least have to have been conceived here, right? I mean, this is ridiculous.
It is, but
liberals are ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, they are. So anyway, that's all I had to say.
All right. Well, I appreciate the call.
Okay, thank you.
All right, take care. So MSNBC is about to do their change to MS Now. And they did this commercial which is so bizarre. Listen, this is the headline. MSNBC has hired black actors to feature alongside its white anchors in racial justice theme ad promoting MS Now name change. And what they did is they have this ad, and it has Rachel Maddow, who, you know who Rachel Maddow looks like to me? You know who she reminds me of? There's two people she reminds me of. She reminds me of Elvis Costello, like in '87. You guys know Elvis Costello? I like Elvis Costello, okay? Back in '87, not now. A little cross between Elvis Costello, circa 1987-ish, or the actress from the 1980s movie Just One of the Guys, when she was passing herself off as a guy. Remember that? It looks kind of like that. So they have this ad where Rachel Maddow is reciting the preamble of the United States Constitution, and they show all these dramatic film shots of the different MSNBC anchors, and then they flash to black people that don't work there, so that they. That's exactly right. I don't mean nothing against Elvis Costello, because I like Elvis Costello, okay? Not a lot of people do. I like Elvis Costello. A lot of people think he can't sing. I think he's singing. I like Elvis Costello. But anyway, it is so bizarre. And, you know, the other thing about this, Rachel Maddow is reciting the preamble of the Constitution. Beware of liberals who wrap themselves in America. You know, the Constitution and the Declaration of Independence, liberals have been telling us that it was written by white supremacist slaveholders for the purpose of maintaining white supremacy. Now they got Rachel Maddow reciting it as if it's a holy document. Okay? So whenever you hear liberals reciting the Constitution like this, they're burning it or tearing it up or both. Okay? But yeah, they are mighty white over there with their mainstream anchors, and surrounding themselves with black people doesn't make them less white. You know, there's an article I saw on Drudge this morning that, let me see if I can get the percentage. There's a study that was done on podcast. Let me see if I can find this real quick. I think I saw it this morning. It might have been yesterday. Yeah, look at this. This is on Drudge right now. It says, I just saw it here. Now I can't find, okay, yeah. Podcasting diversity problem. This is on Drudge. Podcast diversity problem. 64% of hosts are male. 77% of podcast hosts are white. And they have this whole study breaking down that 77% of podcast hosts are white, and 64% of the hosts are male. Well, you know, you guys know I have a long-running podcast, which is very successful, and my podcast, the Brian Craig Show podcast, has very large listenership, and it's in the top 1.5% listenership-wise, in the top 1.5% of all podcasts in the world. Not in America, the world. So I've got a lot of listeners on my podcast, and I'm white, so I'm part of the problem, according to this article in Drudge. Let me tell you something. Podcasting is, it is a lifestyle. My podcast consumes so many hours of my day. You guys have no idea. I don't mind. I'm not complaining, but it's a very time-consuming, hard-working thing. And the reason that most people that are podcasters are men is because, for the most part, it requires a lot of technical skills, and, not just hosting, not just talking, the part when you're talking into the microphone, like I'm doing right now on the radio show or the podcast, that's the easy part. The technical skills, there's a lot of production that goes into it, audio production. My podcast is an audio podcast as well as a video podcast. So there's audio and video work that has to be done. I have a studio I built this weekend. I have 2 studios for podcasting at home. I mainly just use one, which is where I'm using now on the radio. But I'm building a third podcast set in my house. I'm helping somebody else put one together this week, later in the week. It's a very technical job that even requires sometimes carpentry and such. And the reason that it's a male-dominated industry is because there's so much technical work that goes behind it and things. And when you get into the technical things, audio and video editing, and the work that goes into building a podcast studio, that's a male-dominated thing, right? Most women that would do a podcast, they don't have any of these skills because that's a kind of a male-dominated thing. In fact, out of every production person I have ever known at every radio station I've ever worked at or known people at, going back all these years, I've never known a female production person whose job was just that. Every production person, sometimes they call them the operations manager, the production guy, whoever, every production guy that was in charge of it at every radio station I've ever known has been a man. That doesn't mean that women can't do it, and I've seen women do production once or twice at a radio station, very rare. And when people are podcasting, it's a one-man band for the most part. That's why it's male-dominated. But you notice what's going on with this story on Drudge. They're getting ready to talk about this podcasting problem. There's not enough gender or color diversity. Well, look at your movie and TV business and look what all your DEI did. So what's happening now is podcasting has become the big business in Hollywood. A lot of the top podcasts and both audio and video that you see are done on sound stages in Hollywood, California. You don't even know it. And so there's a lot of big corporations behind a lot of the top podcasts, both video and audio. So they have told themselves that MAGA won in the elections last year, in the presidential elections, because of podcast, and there is some truth in that. It helped a lot, right? So what they're trying to do is intimidate people and companies into giving people podcasts just because they're a woman or they're not white. It's what it says here. It says podcast diversity problem. 64% are white, 77% are male. I didn't know that's a problem. I'm a problem, right? You can't. These are two things that we're born with. White with a penis. Can't change those things. I know some people try and have tried, but you're a problem if you're, see, what the left have decided is this, that white men have had a voice too long. And maybe what they should do is get some talented people and try to get them in there. You know what this is like? It's like when Rush Limbaugh first made it big syndicated-wise. The left did a big recruiting thing to try to get a liberal alternative to Rush Limbaugh. They tried several people. They all failed. Alan Dershowitz, Mario Cuomo, right? The father, and there were a bunch of others. And then later, Air America, without Franken, they all failed for all kinds of reasons, just like this. All right, I'm looking at the clock. It's very late for the break. We'll take a quick break and be right back. All Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. I'm dealing with too many things off the air right now. Okay. If you're on hold, stand by. I got a few things to cover. When we get back, well, let me cue things up here. All right. All right. Back in 30 seconds, guys. I can't deal with... Okay, where am I? Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, Steve Kane Show. I've been covering some things today that the media just aren't covering. And this next one is, this is something we should have been doing all the time, but the media, they do not want to cover this one. And, you know, President Trump, well, they don't want to cover much of anything he does, tell you the truth. But this one in particular is amazing. Do you know that this week is Anti-Communism Week? Did you know that? It is Anti-Communism Week. And this was declared by the president and the White House. And I came across this quite by accident today. And, you know, the thing about, I know, isn't that something? Now, the reason you're not going to hear about this, other than me, and maybe a handful of others that may mention it, is because the liberals are communist, and they don't want you to know that it's Anti-Communism Week, and it's a proclamation from President Trump. Listen to this at the White House website. Anti-Communism Week proclamation. This week, our nation observes, this is a proclamation from President Trump. This week, our nation observes Anti-Communism Week, a solemn remembrance of the devastation caused by one of history's most destructive ideologies. Across continents and generations, communism has wrought devastation upon nations and souls. More than 100 million lives have been taken by regimes that sought to erase faith, suppress freedom, and destroy prosperity earned through hard work. And it goes on. So it is Anti-Communism Week. And there was a video I saw the other day. Mom Donnie was riding a bicycle in New York, one of those bicycle sharing things. And this woman is yelling at him, "Communist, communist." And some guy says, "It's socialist. You should know the difference." No, he is a communist. He said a couple of weeks back that he has a long history of saying they're going to seize the means of production. That's textbook communism. And a video just dropped of him the other day, from a couple weeks ago, that I just first saw the other day, where he talked about how they're going to seize rental properties from the owners by using code enforcement. So when you're out there talking about seizing the means of production, you are a communist. That is a communist ideology. You can call it socialism and democratic socialism, but it is indeed communism, and it is anti-communism week, which really is anti-Democrat week since they've become commies. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Joe from Texas.
Hey, Joe, what's on your mind?
Hey, I wanted to get your take on this story that I found out. Do you know who CoffeeZilla is by any chance?
Yes.
Yeah. He actually made a recent video, and he thought you did this weird trade, and I just wanted to go over it with you.
Well, I don't know. Tell me what the topic was. I don't want to hear the whole CoffeeZilla story, but tell me what the topic was. I may have seen it.
Yeah, it was this guy who made a $110 million trade right before Trump made some tweets about the dude made $88 million off that trade.
Who made $88 million?
It's kind of apparent that...
Who made $88 million?
Somebody did.
But you don't know who?
Somebody did.
Okay. And?
Well, the thing is that, like, what you're saying, right, is, like, who is this guy? But he made a trade at, I think it was 8 o'clock, 8:49 p.m., and then Trump made the tweet at 8:50 p.m., you know?
Yeah.
That looks pretty bad.
For who?
So I was just...
For
the guy who did the trade.
Maybe. I don't know. I mean, I didn't see it. What you're talking about from CoffeeZilla, I don't really know how to describe CoffeeZilla. He's kind of like, he's a guy online who calls out cons and scam artists, is what he does, right? And I've watched him for a while, but I don't know about it. He did one on a day trader. Is it the one on the day trader?
It might have been.
He has another one stealing $21 million from Melania Trump. No, that's from a while back. I don't know which one you're talking about. I don't know. I have to see it. I don't know. I don't understand what the point of your call is. So you don't know who he is or what he did, but he made a trade and made some money. I don't understand, if you don't know anything about it, why you're calling me about it.
Well, I wanted to get your take on it because he made a trade a minute before Trump made that tweet. Isn't that suspicious?
Not necessarily. It could be, but it might not be. What kind of trade? On what type of thing?
It was on Bitcoin and Ethereum.
People make big moves on cryptos all the time.
Yeah, but 80 million?
There's a lot. They call them in the crypto
110 million.
In the crypto world, they call them big fish. You know, the thing about the cryptos, okay? When I learned, when it comes to crypto, I mean, I understand it and appreciate it, okay? And I went to this crypto thing last week at the Hard Rock, and there were a lot of people there, like Eric Trump and others. There were some others too that had been debanked after January 6th. So they got into crypto so that they would have a means to participate in commerce, right, if they got debanked again. Because debanked is something I never even heard of until then. So I understand the importance of crypto because of that. However, it is such a manipulated market. Every once in a while there'll be new cryptos come up. Like there was one a couple years back called Shiba Inu. Okay, anybody that's in crypto, you may have heard of Shiba Inu. And I followed this a little bit. My daughter's into crypto and NFTs and stuff, and I was following it with her. And they have these things they call them big fish. They drop big money into, and it doesn't have to be a meme coin. It could be some of the main ones, and they do it to manipulate. So what happens is they or their friends, they go in and buy up a whole bunch of a particular crypto, and then they drop hundreds of millions of dollars into that crypto, inflate the price, and then they sell it. There's a lot of con men and scam artists operating every hour of every day in crypto. Everybody knows this. So, so I don't know what you're talking about, but no, I don't find anything involving crypto suspicious. The whole thing, and by definition, is suspicious, right?
think what you're saying is like a pump and dump scheme. Yeah, that's bad. But
that happens
Bitcoin
all
and
day.
Ethereum have been established markets.
Yeah, but they still, the cryptocurrency in general is like the Wild West of unregulated finance, where all kinds of craziness happens. And you know this.
Okay, I can get that. But the thing was is that.
Well, I want to move on because you don't even know what you told me. You don't even know what you're talking about. So maybe next time, be a little informed, and then I can give you an educated opinion based on what you have. But you just have some guy made some money, and what do you think of that? You know, that's basically what he said. I went long on the last segment, so I'm going to take a quick break. And there's a new story on the Clintons I'm going to cover. We're going to get into that. It's Steve Kane Show. I'm Brian Craig. We'll be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right, we'll be back. We're still on radio break for about 40 seconds. When you call in, have something. Don't say, this guy made some money. What do you think? I got a call from a nice lady from West Virginia who says they let kids use calculators and math so they don't learn logical thinking skills. They don't work their brains like they used to. Very true. She was so spot on the money with that. All right, hang in there. We're going to be back in a moment. Welcome back, everyone. My name is Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. I want to talk about Life Imaging FLA. Listen to this. This is an online review from a nice lady, Yvonne. who was over at Life Imaging FLA and had the scans done, right? I had the heart scan, had the full body cancer scan. Listen to this. This is just 2 weeks ago. Yvonne wrote this. I was thankful for the opportunity to get this scan done. It saved me a lot of problems because I found out I had a bad lung infection, which could have gotten worse. Thanks, guys. Much appreciated. Wow. Wow. Did save her. Saved her a lot of problems, and maybe even saved a lot more than just problems. Life Imaging FLA, they're absolutely amazing. Now, the month of November is Men's Health Awareness Month. And November at Life Imaging FLA, they're all about men's health, okay? They offer free heart scans with a few minimum requirements that's valued at $699. When you're there, make sure you ask about their full body cancer screening for that ultimate peace of mind. I mean, look at Yvonne here. Wow, look what she found. I had the heart scan and that full body cancer screening, and the peace of mind I have, I feel better. It took years off my life. I feel better knowing I have no cancer, no blockage, and no plaque buildup. But Yvonne found out about that lung infection. Holy smokes. You know, Life Imaging FLA, they're all about proactive healthcare. They're saving lives through early detection. And listen to this. According to the National Cancer Institute, over 4.75 million cancer deaths have been prevented through early detection and screening. This November, take control of your health. Visit Life Imaging FLA. Start living proactively. They have locations in Palm Beach, Broward, and Dade. Pick up your cell phone and call pound 250 and say free heart scan. That's pound 250 and say free heart scan. You'll be connected in seconds. That's pound 250 on your cell phone and say free heart scan. All right, let's go back to our phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Joe from Texas. I just wanted to say, you know, I guess maybe I'm not the best person to talk about this, but can I at least tell you the Voidzilla video that you should watch?
No, it's one call per day. One call per day. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Hey, good morning. It's Ricochet. How are you this morning?
All right, Ricochet, what's on your mind?
Hey, two things. One, Florida real estate and this Black Lives people that evidently President Trump doesn't care about anymore. I'd like to remind him how many hundreds of black people went to him looking for loans to start their business. And he said, pay them back when you get ready or when you're able to. And when they all came to pay him back, he just tore up their check because he cared so much about them to get successful that he didn't even want the money back. You know, and now you got this brainwashed libtard down there saying that he don't care about anybody is wild. Second, real estate, I'm afraid, and I hope I'm wrong, because I lived in Florida twice, and when I moved from Colorado, it was about half the cost in Florida than it was in Colorado. We left Florida a year ago for Texas because Texas is still way cheaper than Florida, and now with this surge coming in there, we're getting people from, you know, New York as well, but it seems like most of them are going to Florida.
Yeah.
And the cost of housing, I think, is going to be almost as much as it is in
you know,
New York.
this is the thing. Okay, I'm not the real estate expert. That's why we have George Colony, who we're going to have on the show tomorrow. I'm going to talk about some of these things.
Good.
But, you know, my mother has a nice house in Fort Lauderdale, okay? She bought that house in the 80s for $67,000. Okay?
Right.
What I pay, I'm not going to say what I paid for my house because I'm not, you know, but I paid a lot more for my house, and my house is worth more than twice what I paid for it just over 20 years ago.
Sure.
So real estate always goes up in value. The house, my mother's house is different than mine, but not really too much bigger. We both live in good locations. Hers might be a little bit better because she's down by the beach, right? Closer to the beach than I am in Fort Lauderdale. But they're kind of the same house with some subtle differences, right? And I paid a lot more for mine than she did, like 20 years later, right? So prices always go up. It's relative. And so far as Florida, it depends on where in Florida you want to live. You know, in South Florida, in Broward County in particular, where Fort Lauderdale is, these are places that are pretty much built up and built out. But you know, there's other parts in Florida that have the pricing that they have up north. It's just nobody wants to live out in the middle of nowhere.
There is. I mean, my mother has an apartment in Sarasota. She's paying almost $3,000 a month for a 2-bedroom apartment.
For rent.
You know, in Sarasota.
For rent?
For rent, yeah, exactly.
That's
for
crazy.
Rent, yes.
Yeah.
It's $2,700 a month. And, you know, I've got a 5-bedroom house here in about 30 miles north of Houston. And, you know, for rent, I'm paying $1,700, and it's a brand new community. You know, first time in the house. You know, so I mean, the rent prices.
Well, what a lot of people in Florida do, because real estate in Florida is. This is why we have George Colony on the show. That's why he joined us this month, because we saw this real estate boom coming, and so people, people are finding out that their net worth value is through the roof because home values in South Florida are so high. So what a lot of people do, so what a lot of people do is they sell their home and move to a cheaper part of Florida, and there's you know what I mean, and they're loaded and they pay cash for a house.
I'm wrong because we want to move back to Florida. We miss it. You know, my wife's a beach person, and she's not big into the cowboy thing here in Texas like me and my boys are. But you know, I hope we're wrong. I hope New Yorkers does not ruin Florida. Because
if you look at Florida, okay, in Florida, we're a very red state, but there's some blue areas.
Yeah.
The two bluest areas. Well, there's 4 blue areas. Okay, Jacksonville and Orlando. That's different, but the big ones are Broward and Palm Beach. And the reason that Broward and Palm Beach are blue is because so many New Yorkers have come here over the years.
Right.
If we didn't have the New Yorkers, Palm Beach and Broward County would be solid red, but they're blue because So the New Yorkers that flee, we always tell, don't bring your Democrat registration card with you. Let's hope not.
Yeah, I think DeSantis needs to do what we're doing in Texas and maybe charge them a tariff to move down there. But anyway, I hope I'm wrong. I hope New Yorkers don't ruin it because we want to come back. And Trump, man, he is just rocking it.
Well, it doesn't. New Yorkers don't ruin it if you're a homeowner and you're selling because you're rich.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I hope to move back there again.
Even like Steve Kane was telling. I was shocked to hear this. Steve's telling me that he's thinking about selling his house because the values are so. He knows what his home. I'm not going to tell you guys what Steve's home is worth, but he told me what his home's valued at now, and I said, "Holy smokes! I had no idea." And it's a gold mine. Your home's a gold mine if you own a home in Florida.
If you're already down there and a resident, had a home down there, it's going to be so profitable.
But here's the thing: when people come to Florida from these blue states, in particular New York, what's very high for us is still cheap for them.
Sure. Oh yeah, definitely.
Yep.
I got you.
All right. Appreciate the call.
I hope it stays that way. Take care, bud.
Appreciate the call. Now I wanted to ask you. There was a story that dropped about the Clintons yesterday, the Clinton corruption files. Pam Bondi and Kash Patel, they got a whole bunch of new information on the Clintons taking foreign donations. And I think this is, the whole Clinton Foundation was a money laundering operation. And if you remember when Bill Clinton first left, and Hillary was in the Senate. When he first left the White House, she was in the Senate. Bill Clinton was doing these speeches all over the world. They were like 20-minute, 30-minute, hour-long speeches, and he was getting paid huge sums of money. And it started like 200,000, 100,000. The next thing you know, they're getting millions. I guess they were testing the waters. And what really it was how they got bribes. Hillary was still in government. Bill Clinton was retired. However, he was still the leader of the Democrats for a while, and he had a lot of influence around the world with world leaders. So he was selling that influence, but Hillary Clinton was still in the Senate and then later Secretary of State. So what the Clintons were doing was kind of what the Bidens had been doing, right? It's bribes. Remember, Hillary Clinton as Secretary of State signed off on the deal that gave Russia control of 20% of American U.S. based in this country, uranium deposits. Remember that? Now, they did it through a money laundering scheme through a Canadian company, but the nuclear missiles that Putin has that you're worried that he's going to use on Ukraine or maybe launch to us, how many of them are weaponized nuclear missiles with American uranium that he has because Hillary signed off on it, right? And I'm sure she did many other things too, but that's a big one. That's a bad one. And the Clinton Foundation is how they did it. So these two are dirty as the day is long through that Clinton Foundation. That was their money laundering bribe machine. And the Clintons, I don't think they're that unusual. Now, they may have taken it to a whole new level. The Clintons and the Bidens are probably the two most corrupt presidents this country has ever seen. Perhaps even the most corrupt public officials who took things to a level that can't even be imagined. But my question is this: should the Clintons be prosecuted, or should they be given a pass? I mean, I personally believe that they are both living a life sentence of misery living together in Chappaqua. Believe me, they are not happy living together. It is a living hell. It's not the same as a prison. But and I know the immediate reaction, well, unequal justice, they should go to prison, they should be prosecuted. Bill Clinton looks too feeble to try, if you've seen him. If this case is pursued, though, and I'm not saying that it shouldn't, but I want to hear your thoughts on this. If these new revelations that were found by Kash Patel and Pam Bondi are pursued and the Clintons are prosecuted, you do understand that they will forever be suing and prosecuting the Trump family, not just the president, but the children and Melania too. You understand that? I believe. So, and that doesn't mean they're not going to stop harassing the Trumps if we don't go after the Clintons. But if Pam Bondi and Kash Patel prosecute the Clintons for these crimes, which I promise you they're guilty of, they are dirty people, the Clintons, they will forever prosecute the entire Trump family. Barron, Tiffany, Melania, all of them. And you know what? Kai Trump, too. They'll be giving her a hard time. The up-and-comer in the Trump family. If they don't prosecute him, they may just harass President Trump. So what do you think should be done? Should we prosecute the Clintons on these crimes, which we know they did this and much more, so that the entire extended Trump family is not is harassed for the rest of their lives? Or should we let them go away and have to live in permanent exile, being forced to live together, which is a prison in itself, for the rest of their lives in Chappaqua, so that Melania and Kai Trump and the rest don't deal with harassment for the rest of their life? Serious question. The reason that President Trump was impeached so many times wasn't just Trump derangement syndrome. It's because in 1998, Bill Clinton got impeached for suborning perjury in the Paula Jones case. And that was a revenge tour for that impeachment. You understand that, right? A lot of the the spy operation that Barack Obama, things have. I'm not saying we shouldn't go after him. I'm just telling you there's consequences. I give you an example. This entire spy op that Obama had, Brennan doing, and Comey, that Comey's they're going to be prosecuted for these, right? Do you know why Obama did that? I know the conventional thinking is because Hillary lost. Well, that's not the real reason. The real reason that Obama had that hatred of Trump and organized that illegal spy operation that started at Trump Tower when he was still president and went even after, right? He wasn't president anymore, Obama, is because President Trump pushed that birth certificate. Hillary was the one that came up with the birth certificate question originally when she ran against Obama in 2008. But Trump forced Obama to produce that document that he said was a photocopy of his birth certificate, remember? And he never got over that birth certificate thing with Trump. And a lot of this lawfare is because of that. Comey and everything that he's done, that he continued it after Obama wasn't president, was amplified because President Trump fired Comey. So I don't want you to misunderstand. I'm not saying don't prosecute the Clintons, but I'm telling you these actions, the birth certificate, the firing of Comey, the enemies, these evildoers react to them. And all these things we're doing is a reaction. It's not just because they lost power. It's because President Trump dared to challenge them. The birth certificate, the firing of Comey, the opposite and unequal, the unequal reaction to that was everything that Trump's going through, which even led to him, by the way, getting shot in Butler, had to do with him pushing for the birth certificate, the firing of Comey, and some other things. So there is a reaction to these things that you have to consider instead of just saying, yes, get them. So we'll take our last break of this hour. I'd like to hear your thoughts on all that. Our number's toll-free, 888-465-2631. We'll be right back. All right. We will be back in about a minute, guys. Less than a minute. All right, welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to Florida's longest-running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. If you're on hold, hang in there. And if you'd like to call in, the number's toll-free, 1-888-465-2631. Okay. Melissa DeRosa, she was one of the top advisors to Governor Cuomo during his run for mayor here. And she did an interview and dropped something that's just so disappointing. Let me just play it and I'll share it. Listen. Okay. So she's top aide of Cuomo. She said that they knew it was hopeless and they just were in there so that he wouldn't have a landslide victory. I mean, you know, let me tell you something. The turnout was so low in New York. I have zero sympathy for New York City. I thought I would, but I don't. Less than zero. All right? I don't care what the media said or how hopeless it was. If I had a guy like that running for the mayor of my town, I don't care if I was going to be the only person voting against them. I would do it. So as far as I'm concerned, they get what they deserve. But this thing with Cuomo is very disappointing. It really is. You know, there's a lot of money to be made running for office. I've known people that have run for office knowing they're going to lose, but there's a lot of money to be made. There's a big financial interest in people like Cuomo and his staff and people around him to run hopeless campaigns because they get rich doing it. It's disgusting. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Yes, my name is Richard. I'm calling from Las Vegas.
Hey, Richard in Vegas. What's on your mind?
Okay, so I got to disagree with you. I think Trump needs to go after these criminals that we have.
How about the Clintons?
Because you know what? Yes, and all of them. And I'll tell you why. It's like when you watch the movie, right? You see somebody just trying to kill him. They hit him with a shovel, and then they start running away instead of finishing the job. And you can't leave them because they're not going to stop. And the only way to stop them is to stop them completely.
Yeah.
That's the way I think it is.
Well, I agree.
They're still going to come back at them.
But see, here's the thing. What you say is true. I agree. All these lawfare people need to be arrested and go to prison. But it's not that easy. You know, I mean, we got the Comey indictment. They say the Brennan one's coming soon. Getting the Clintons, that's slim to none. I don't see a former first lady and president, especially Democrat one, getting charged. And you know, we're almost a year into this second term, and the wheels of justice from Pam Bondi are moving way too slow. You know, all these cases are things that Pam Bondi and Kash Patel and Dan Bongino knew inside and out before they took the jobs. So things should have been on super speed. I don't think that Pam Bondi plans on arresting and charging these people. I don't. I just don't. I know the president loves her and he knows more about what's going on than you and I, but I don't think she ever plans on going after these people.
Yeah,
she's going too slow.
And I'll be honest with you, it would be a shame if they don't do that though.
And
because the thing is, like Pelosi now, if she just retired, she's going to get, and all they're going to do is they're going to get a slap on the wrist for the crimes that they have done, because they have done really big crimes to the country.
Well,
and it's just like, okay, you get a slap on the wrist. Now they get to retire. They take all the money they stole, and nothing ever happens.
Like look at Comey. We got this indictment on Comey, which is awesome because, you know, Comey's the ringleader of the whole thing, I believe. Okay. But we got an indictment on him, not because of Pam Bondi, but Lindsay Halligan that Trump made appointed for that special appointment. It happened without Pam Bondi. Now, she may be acting like she's happy about it and a part of it, but I don't know about Bondi. You know, she came up through the Florida Republican Party, which was run by Jeb Bush. And when she was running for Attorney General the first time, and we had her on the show, the person that somebody scheduled her on the show with me and Steve without telling us. They're a Bush Republican person, a Jeb Bush person. This was long before Trump came down the escalator. So she came up through the Jeb Bush. Jeb Bush runs the Republican Party of Florida more than DeSantis, even still today. So she came up through the Bush people in Florida. So when I see the lack of action from her, I wonder where her loyalty is.
And I agree with you on some of these things too.
So what I mean is, if you're not going to go after all of them and shut it down, it's going to cause a lifetime of harassment for the entire Trump family, not just him, everybody.
But the problem is, you're only putting a Band-Aid, because once Trump leaves office. Well, yeah, we might have.
By this point, I expected all of them to be indicted by this point, facing trials, and we barely got anybody. And Letitia, even that's getting drawn out. Hey, we don't disagree, but I just don't think Pam Bondi is serious about doing it. So if you're not serious, I mean, it's Listen, I got to run for the top, but I appreciate the call. If you're on hold, hang in there. Yeah, I agree with everything the guy said. All right, we'll take our break for the top of the hour. Call us on hold, stand by. I'm Brian Craig. It's the Steve Kane Show. Our number is toll free 1-888-465-2631. 888-465-2631. We'll take our break for the top of the hour and be back right after this. All right, we will be back. We're still in break on the radio. We'll be back on the air in about 90 seconds. So if you're on hold, hang in there. I'll take calls when we get back. A lot of times I take calls during the breaks, but today I'll take them on the radio, not during the breaks today. Oh boy, I tell you, I'm not... You guys can let me know, are you confident that Pam Bondi's going to go after all these people? Do you think she's taking too long? It gets frustrating, doesn't it? I do like that I see Brennan on television and he's in a complete panic. That I like, right? That I like. That means they're coming. And we got Letitia, which is a big one. But one that I would really like to see is Fannie. What happened with Fannie? There's a lot of this lawfare. Now, we do have these grand juries that are going on. But these lawfare cases, when Pam Bondi came in, she knew these things backwards and frontwards and upside down and sideways. I just don't think it should be taking this long. They almost kind of should have been prepared to start going to grand juries almost immediately, right? All right, hang in there, guys. We'll be back shortly. I get excited when we get these indictments, but I need to see more action. All right, we're coming back in about 20 seconds. Welcome back, everyone. The third hour has begun. My name is Brian Craig. You're listening to Florida's longest running radio show, The Steve Kane Show, on the radio since 1977. So Mom Donnie did a interview. Let me play this clip. This is Mom Donnie.
So it wasn't just a hypothetical I'll say that I'm here to work for the benefit of everyone that calls the city hall. And wherever there is a possibility for working together towards that end, I'm ready. And if it's to the expense of those New Yorkers, I will fight.
Okay. You know, what Mamdani's talking, he's trying to do here, don't you? He's trying to create a nonstop conflict between him and Trump. That way, they can blame Trump for whatever failures he had. Well, I wanted to do this, and he wouldn't do that, and now this happened. He's looking to blame Trump for his failure. At this point, he's got to get to this guy's never done anything in his life, and he's got to, at some level, be told, like, what do I do? And how do I do it? He's got to have some worries. He can't be that full of himself that he's not concerned about running the most important city in all of the world, New York City. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
What's up, man? It's Jeff. How you doing?
I'm doing, Jeff. How are you?
Good. So what's going on with the dividend on the 2000 that we're supposed to be getting? They're striking that down. The Supreme Court says that we might not.
The Supreme Court struck that down. I didn't even know that case was in front of the Supreme Court. Tell me about that.
It's going up. I said the Supreme Court wants to strike it down because it wasn't legitimate on the tariffs that he had in place.
Really? So what happened? One of the justices told you this? Where'd you get this information?
Well, I'm finding it on social media.
Oh, someone on social media.
It still has to go before the Supreme Court.
Oh, okay. So, no, it doesn't have to go. Who says it has to go to the Supreme Court? Some guy on social media? So
you're on social media.
So you don't want the $2,000?
You're on social media. The 2,000. Where's the 2,000? And where's the 5,000?
What do you mean? What do you mean? Where's the 2,000? You think you should have it already?
Yeah.
President Trump. Today is the President Trump first mentioned the $2,000 dividend in a post on Truth Social on Sunday. It is Wednesday. Yep. Okay. You think you should already have the check in the mail?
Well, yeah, he's making.
You understand there's a process that has to go through Congress.
Well,
you're not serious. You're not serious
what about
that.
The 5,000?
No. You're not changing the subject. No. What we're on the 2,000 still.
We don't want to talk about those. We don't want to talk about the 5,000 that.
No, I'll talk about that in a minute. But I'm going to finish with this first. So wait a minute.
Okay.
So you said what about the 2,000? Yep. It's Wednesday, and you're telling me you're impatient that you don't have the money yet?
Oh no, I had the money, but it's just I'm just calling out your fake statements and Trump's fake statements.
What fake statement?
You were all excited. You were all excited on Monday. Oh, we're getting $2,000.
We are.
Money, yeah.
We are.
You are?
Yes.
Okay. So just like we were supposed to get the $5,000.
No, President Trump didn't tell us that. No. Elon Musk mentioned that. Elon Musk mentioned that on his own, not the president. I know you're laughing at yourself.
Boy,
you're laughing at yourself.
I'm laughing because you sound like an idiot.
Mm-hmm.
You sound like an idiot. You do. No, you hold this guy to such a higher standard, and then when he lets you down, you come up with some excuse as to why he let everybody down.
How have I been let down by President Trump?
Okay, let me ask you something.
No. You said that I've been let down by President Trump. How have I been let down by President Trump?
By the administration. Oh,
how?
Okay.
How have they let me down? That's dead air, man. You said that President Trump has let me down, and I'm covering. So how has he let me down?
When he's let the rest of America down, not you, because you are so.
Okay. So how did President Trump let America down? How did President Trump let America down?
By raising the cost of everything. By not lowering the cost of anything like he said he was going to.
Excuse me. Yesterday I had a story. DoorDash reported that breakfast groceries are down 14% in the last 6 months.
Just like the Walmart. Just like Walmart reported.
No, DoorDash. Grocery prices are down. Grocery prices are down.
Because they're DoorDash. Yeah, I'm going to listen to DoorDash.
Yes.
So
yeah,
I'm going to get my ethanol.
They sell food. They sell groceries. They know.
They deliver food. They don't sell groceries.
No, you buy it. You buy it through them on their app, and they deliver it to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay.
And they know what the prices are.
Yeah. So now let me ask you something. So Trump did a great job in Chicago.
Yes.
Lowered the crime in Chicago.
Correct.
When is he going to the red states?
He has. Memphis, Tennessee. He went to Memphis and rid Memphis of crime.
I think he was in there for a day.
No, they've been in there for weeks. They found over 100 missing children that were missing and have returned them to their families.
What?
Mm-hmm.
Wow, I missed that one. I'm going to have to go look at that. Wow.
Oh, yeah.
That should have been national news.
Well,
that should have been
when Trump does good, I agree with you.
So why didn't you report on it?
I did. I've talked about it more than once. You must have missed those shows.
Wow. Okay. So, all right.
I appreciate you pointing out these great things. President Trump has lowered breakfast groceries by 14% in 6 months. He went to the red state of Tennessee, to their blue city of Memphis, rid it of crime, found over 100 missing children. You're doing a great job promoting all the great things that the president's doing.
So you say.
No, it's been reported. It's been reported. I've shared the stories on the program.
Yeah. What are your sources?
Oh, my goodness. I mean, I've been reporting on it every time it's happened. All right, I appreciate it. And no matter what I give you, whatever I give you, you're going to move on and say, yeah, but what about this? There's nothing I will give you. There's nothing.
It's just a simple question, Brian. Just a simple. What's your sources?
I don't have all my news stories in hand for every time a lunatic calls me to open up my files.
Oh, I'm a lunatic. Why am I a lunatic? Because I call you out? Because why?
No, because you're a. I will look it up and share it with you. Okay.
Okay, that would be great.
And the crime amendment, but you're not going to accept anything that I share. The U.S. Okay, the U.S. Right here it is. U.S. Marshals. The U.S. Marshals Service. The U.S. Marshals Service. Okay. As of November 8th, you listening? You wanted a source, the U.S. Marshals Service. You ready? This is a press release from the U.S. Marshals Service. As of November 8th, the Memphis Safe Task Force, that's the team that President Trump sent there, has located and safely returned 101 missing children. Parents and caregivers can now sleep soundly that their children have been safely returned home. There you go. 101 missing children found by Trump in Memphis.
Found by Trump?
Well, he's the one that sent the federal agents there. He sent the federal agents there. So you said, you didn't know about it. I told you about it. You said, what's your source? I looked it up, U.S. Marshal Service. Now what do you say? Trump did a good job. 101 children who were missing, God only knows who had them, returned to their families. Is that a good thing Trump did?
That's awesome. Yeah, that's great.
Trump did something good.
Trump did. I just can't say
now you said this should have been national news. You still that now it's
correct.
News. Okay. You want to apologize for questioning my integrity and honesty? You were accusing me of making things up.
I will definitely not apologize to you.
Really? You were accusing me of making things up.
No, I just said, what's your source?
Oh, I got right here the U.S. Marshal Service.
So I owe you an apology?
Yeah.
I owe you an apology.
Sure you do.
I questioned your source.
Yeah.
No, I don't. I don't owe you anything. I don't owe.
Here's another one. This is News Nation. The U.S. Marshal Service reporting that the Memphis Safe Task Force, that's the task force sent there by President Trump, has cleared over 1,000 Memphis warrants.
Oh,
so they've arrested over 1,000. They arrested over 1,000 fugitives, and in addition to arresting over 1,000 fugitives on outstanding warrants, they have located and safely returned 101 missing children to their families. The warrant charges, the over 1,000 they arrested, that President Trump had them arrest, include murderers,
Yeah.
Drug traffickers, sex offenders, and others. 203 firearm warrants and 264 narcotics warrants were served. They've arrested 2,342 individuals in Memphis and this was 2 days ago. News Nation. So you want to praise? So you said when's he going to go to red states? Memphis is a blue city and a red state.
Right. Okay. So no. What source was you just credited?
News Nation.
Right there,
News Nation and the News Nation.
And when was that?
That's where Chris Cuomo works. Chris Cuomo works. Liberal Chris Cuomo is on News Nation. So it's a liberal source.
So now I'm on.
You're on what? You're on what? Crack? Don't you feel stupid?
No.
Do you feel stupid?
You're stupid. Really, you are. That's all
I didn't ask if I was stupid. I said, do you feel stupid now?
No, you just said, what do you want, crack? What are you trying to do? You've been trying to insult my intelligence?
No, you're doing that. You're insulting your intelligence much better than I could ever do.
Well, I'm trying to have a normal conversation with you, and all you know how to do is throw out wisecracks and insults.
Mm-hmm.
See, because what you are is you hide behind that keyboard and that microphone.
What does that mean? What do you mean I'm hiding?
Like me, you wouldn't be running your mouth like that. Now I'm trying to have a normal conversation.
Really? What is that, a threat? Are you threatening me? So what would you do if you saw me out in public and I was with my MAGA hat saying these things that Trump has located 101 missing children? What would you do?
No, because you're trying to insult me by calling me a crackhead.
I didn't say you're a crackhead. I asked if you are on crack. There's a difference. I didn't say you're a crackhead. I asked if you're on crack. And you seem a little sensitive.
Why would you say that, then?
You seem a little sensitive. Why is that a sensitive thing?
Something. Because it's an insult.
I just asked if you're on crack. If you asked me if I was on crack, the answer is no. I'm not on crack. I don't do drugs.
No, I don't.
I wouldn't get all crazy like you. You know why you're getting crazy? Because you feel stupid.
No, I don't feel stupid.
Yeah, you had this thing. What's your sources? I give you two sources. One of them's a liberal source.
Shut up.
What? Shut the what?
Can you shut up for 2 seconds?
What did you say? Shut the what?
U.S. Marshals.
Shut the what?
I said.
What were you gonna say? Don't say the word, but
Brian.
Shut the what?
Brian.
Get ready, Mike.
Brian. On July 1st, 2024, how come they're saying that 200 children were found? See how the stories change? Now,
Since
this
when?
is from the U.S. Marshals website.
Oh, so now you're okay. Okay, so Trump
July
has found
1st.
more missing children than I had from that one press release. So that's great. So you're praising Trump even more than I am now.
But I'm asking you, so why is there a discrepancy right there? You know what I'm saying?
Discrepancy right
why
there.
not?
The only discrepancy is that I'm late for a break. But it's been fun humiliating you.
No, you didn't humiliate me. You didn't.
Yeah, you're out. Tell yourself that. Tell yourself
you
that.
did yourself.
Tell yourself that.
No,
you can tell yourself that if it gets you through your day.
Well, I mean, if you wanna stick up and praise a pedophile.
Oh, now here he goes. Now here he goes. I'm not doing that. I'm not doing that.
Mm-hmm. And you know what GOP stands for?
No, well, you can tell your friends if you have any what that is. Oh boy. We'll be right back. Oh my goodness, guys. That didn't go well for him. Oh my goodness. Oh boy. Hey Barry, it's Brian. Hey Barry, I'm going to put you on hold. Stand by. Where is... Oh my goodness, it didn't go well for him. The De Niro wannabe. I think I think he does a Jimmy Cagney, a very poor Jimmy Cagney imitation, is what it sounds like to me. I think he's that guy that got nasty with Tom Laporta at that restaurant bar. I think that's who he is. Did you hear what he said? He said, "Shut up," and then he caught himself. I kind of felt like he had his hand up when he said that. Didn't it sound like that? Like he had his hand, shut up. And that's what it kind of sounded like. If you're on hold, stand by. I'll go back to the phones. I'm talking to Mike, the board up. If you're on hold, hang in there, guys. Unbelievable. All right. We'll be back in less than a minute. The quality of people that don't like Trump is very low, isn't it? They're low quality people, aren't they? Yeah. Very, very strange people are anti-Trump. All right, we'll be back in a few seconds. All right, and we are back. It's time to check in with Attorney Barry Siegel from the Siegel Law Group. Attorney Barry Siegel, good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
I'm doing well, Barry. I'm doing well. What do you have for us this morning?
Well, here we are. It's we've had a couple of cold days here. We're in the season, and a lot of our snowbirds are down, and so this might be their first opportunity. We have our Medicaid planning seminar tomorrow afternoon in Boca Raton at 2 p.m. at Spanish River Library. Mm-hmm. So that's going to help people learn everything they need to know to either get prepared for the issues involving the cost of long-term care. If you're not prepared, if you don't have long-term care insurance or you're not sure if you have enough, you really need to come to this workshop to learn how you're going to end up, God forbid you or your spouse need long-term care, either at home or in a facility. How are you going to pay for it? How are you not going to go broke? How are you not going to spend down your assets and drastically change your lifestyle? So we'll be covering all of those issues. And also, if you have somebody in your life who, God forbid, needs care now, is receiving care, is about to need care, then you really need to come here so you could learn how they could become eligible for Medicaid. Even if you don't think they can, most people can. So we have that coming up tomorrow. And then a week from tomorrow, also at 2 p.m. at Spanish River Library in Boca Raton, is our Living Trust Workshop. So that one, you're going to learn everything you need to know about having an estate plan that works, making sure that you have a plan that has an updating system attached to it, making sure that you have one that has bloodline protection for your loved ones, making sure you avoid probate and guardianship, and a whole lot more.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, if you'd like to go to either of those workshops, give the Siegel Law Group a call, or if you can't make it to the workshops and you want to schedule your no-charge in-office consultation, they can help you with that at the same number. It's toll-free, 855-FLA-3782. 855-FLA-3782, and online, SiegelLawGroup.com. And Siegel is Siegel, SiegelLawGroup.com. All right, Attorney Barry Siegel, we'll talk later in the week.
Okay, thanks, Brian.
All right, take care. Take care, Barry. All right, back to the phones. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Tennessee, Brian. How's it going?
I don't know. I'll let you know when we get closer to the end of this call.
Oh, man, I'm just calling to let you know, man, how excited I am that so much stuff is going on. You know, I just never thought that I get to see just so many people be kidnapped and just my price of health care going up.
Well, wait a second. Wait, slow down a second. Slow down a second.
No problem.
You witnessed a kidnapping?
Oh, man, I see it on YouTube every day.
YouTube? Wait a minute. So you're seeing, okay, you're seeing people kidnapped. Are you calling the police?
Yes.
Do you call the police? That's a crime.
They are. They're somewhat the police. They call themselves ICE. They just separate families and everything.
Who's being kidnapped?
People. You know, do you remember the promise that was made? You remember
no, I have no idea what you're talking about. I don't know what you're watching online, but if I see a kidnapping, I call the police and say, hey, somebody's been kidnapped.
Away from their families.
What?
Have you seen it? I've seen it.
You've seen what? What have you seen?
Say what, man?
You say you're seeing people being kidnapped from their families. Tell me about this, because I'm missing this.
Okay. So I'll tell you what. So you got these masked men that pull up on families, right? With no kind of legal jurisdiction, with no warrants, no nothing. And just because they're brown skinned, which I love, by the way, and they just pull them out their car, separate them from their family, throw them in some kind of prison. They even made jokes about the prison. We got alligators to eat them up in case they run away. It's hilarious. I never thought I'd get to live in a country like this one day.
You know,
and you know it's even better.
Hold on a second. So there's wait a minute. There's masked men.
Okay.
There's masked men that are.
Yes.
I guess they're racist because they're picking up people that are black and brown.
Yeah.
Well, if they're wearing masks, wait a minute. Wait, I'm confused. If these kidnappers are wearing masks, how do you know that they're not black or brown? How do you know they're not black or brown?
Well, some of them are.
Okay, so it's not racist.
Some of them are. You can still tell.
Before I talk to you, let me ask you this before I continue. Are you serious or are you just joking around?
What do you mean? I'm like, this is real.
You're
stuff
serious?
Going on, man.
You're like a Democrat. You don't like Trump. You're against the deportations of the people that are illegal in the country.
You haven't seen it?
No, I've not seen any kidnappings. I've seen people arrested.
Oh, come on, man.
I've seen people arrested. You know, an arrest is not a kidnapping. You're aware, and you say that they don't have authority. They are federal agents. ICE are federal agents. Like FBI, Secret Service, they're federal agents. They're cops. They're federal police.
I'm getting past the test. It's an open book test.
What?
Okay, all right. Since you want us to act like you don't see it, guess what? But hey, what about us being so excited that our healthcare prices went up? Wasn't that great? I mean, like, I was already fine and dandy with paying what I was paying, but then when he was like, hey, I'm going to make our healthcare prices go up, I was so overjoyed.
When it comes to your healthcare, what went up?
Yeah.
What do you mean your healthcare? What does that mean?
Everything.
Like, give me an example. Give me an example.
That's right.
Give me an example.
DJ jockey. My bad.
No. Give me an example. What healthcare thing went up for you?
Medicare went up over 175%.
You have Medicaid. Wait a minute. You said Medicare and Medicaid. You have both Medicare and Medicaid.
You got your own private Medicaid.
Wait a minute.
Who, me?
You said that your Medicare and your Medicaid went up. You have both.
I'm going to tell you a secret. It doesn't really affect me because I.
Oh, okay. So your health care hasn't gone up. So yours hasn't gone up.
It affects other people.
Wait a minute.
Americans.
Wait a minute.
I don't have any sympathy for
you
them.
said that your health care went up, and now you're telling me it didn't go up.
People, right?
You said your health care went up. Now you're telling me it didn't go up.
I'm on your side.
Oh my goodness. Now he's trying to be us. Oh my goodness. Am I okay? Am I hallucinating? Is this show really going on today? These last two callers that I've talked to, I feel like this must be what it's like when you're like on some serious psychedelic drugs. Between that guy and the guy before, well, it's the bottom of the hour. In fact, we're late for the break. Let's take our break for the bottom of the hour. It's the Steve Kane Show. We'll be right back. Very strange calls, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. If you guys could raise the quality of the call for the last half hour of the show, I'd appreciate it. All right, we're in break a little while longer on the radio. We're still in break on the radio, so we'll be back shortly, guys. If you're on hold, hang in there. The last couple callers, I feel like I'm drunk talking to those guys. Those are not normal callers. I was talking earlier. The people that are against Trump now are low-quality people. They really are. They have no top-tier people. All right, stand by. Welcome back, everyone. I'm Brian. You're listening to The Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show. Oh, boy. I tell you, I feel like I'm drunk or something after these past couple of calls. So for the last 25 minutes of the show, if you guys could raise the quality of the call, I would appreciate it, okay? Because I really almost feel like I'm on another plane of existence right now talking to the... I like, am I tripping? Is this what tripping is? Did you see this story about Governor Hochul? She had a Chinese spy working for her. This is insane. And she also worked for Governor Cuomo. It's been revealed her name is Linda Sun, a former aide to Kathy Hochul, is a Chinese spy. She was paid over $18 million by China. She bought a multi-million-dollar mansion, a condo for just under $2 million. She bought a Ferrari in 2024. And they say she worked for both Cuomo and Hochul. She was influencing policy. You know, we have had so many spy stories from China. Have you ever heard of a Chinese spy story that didn't involve a Democrat? Right? Every single one has involved a Democrat. I've never heard one involving a Republican. Not a Chinese spy. I'm not saying there's never been any spies around. And, you know, when these stories happen, I mean, I want you to think about this. Governor Hochul is the governor of New York. It's a big, important state. She's very high profile, especially with the Mamdani victory. And this story, have you seen it in any of the mainstream media? I saw it on social media. It's been reported online. I've seen it in a couple of online news sources. But have you seen it in any of the mainstream media? What would happen if it was revealed that Ron DeSantis had a Chinese spy as an aide that had been influencing Florida policy? It would be nonstop news interruptions with sirens and sounders at the top and bottom of every hour. But these Democrats, remember the first one was Feinstein. She had a guy that was spying on her for over 20 years with access to her confidential files and everything in her office. Then we had Fang with Swalwell. Now we've got this one. And radio silence. You know, the double standard, a lot of people say, well, you know, this double standard in the media is something we're just used to, and this is the way it is. Now, things have gone to a whole new level, right? You know, there's always been a double standard where a Democrat would say or do something, and it would be like Barney Frank, Democrat congressman. He was gay. I'm sure he still is, but he was a sitting member of Congress, and his live-in boyfriend was accused and found of running a male prostitution ring out of the congressman's house. No accountability, right? He was asked about it, and he says, "Oh, I wonder why all these guys were coming and going from my house all the time." I know, right? So those kind of things happen. But this involves international espionage. You know, years ago, there was a Russian spy that was at the NRA convention. Remember that? She got arrested, prosecuted, did some time. She might be back in Russia by now. It was a number of years ago. And that was bad, don't get me wrong. She was a honeypot. But the people she was spying on were like activists with the NRA. It was nonstop media coverage, day and night, for months, with her picture all over television, talking about it and everything. And these Chinese spies pop up all the time with these Democrats that are elected officials in high-profile positions. And nothing. Total radio silence. Now, I want to share, I began the show with this early on this morning. I want to go over it. One of the, you know, this is, what President Trump has done in Chicago is nothing short of extraordinary. He posted on Truth Social. He sent this Operation Midway Blitz into Chicago, which is a small team of federal agents, no National Guard, right? And of course, the mayor and the governor were fighting him on this. Already, with this federal agent task force the president sent in, the president posted on Truth Social, shootings are down 35% in Chicago. Robberies are down 41%. Carjackings are down almost 50%. That's absolutely amazing in Chicago, just since this task force went into operation. And you look at the things that President Trump is doing, right? Like this. almost everything President Trump has done are things that they said were impossible to do. You know, this thing about the crime in Chicago, there's crime in the other blue cities that he's taken care of, but in Chicago in particular, it's kind of been an assumption, well, that's Chicago, and nothing can be done about it. People have been talking about it for years. Every once in a while, there'd be a high-profile story. There was a girl who her high school band played at Obama's second inauguration. She went home from the inauguration and was shot and killed by a stray bullet. Then, you know, and people are like, oh, I wish somebody would do something about this. Trump is doing the things that people said, one, couldn't be done or refused to even try to do. We have not had a single elected official, certainly not in Chicago or Illinois, but no, before Trump, we have not had a single elected official who tried to intervene and do anything to stop the most violent of crimes in Chicago. Trump has done it in a small way with this small task force, and shootings are down 35%, robberies down 41%, carjackings down almost 50%. These are some of the most violent crimes people can commit that escalate into other things. Not only is there very little news coverage about it, I looked on the Fox News website, and it's so far down on their website, and it's this little tiny thing. It's like barely a mention, you know? And now, it was high profile when the governor and the mayor were on television every day telling him not to do it. He did it. No National Guard, but he did it. He accomplished what he sent them to do. They're still working. They're doing more, and zero media coverage. I mean, could you imagine if we had a truly fair media? And that's why, you know, the new media that we have, which is the online media, so much of it has become so critical of President Trump. We talk about this quite a bit. And the reason that is that the evil forces that had been corrupting the mainstream media, they don't waste their time, effort, or money corrupting the mainstream media. They're going to the online media, the new media now, and corrupting them and getting them to trash Trump. You look at everything President Trump has done in this second term, right? The crime in the cities, the shutting down of the borders, the missing, over 100 missing children in Memphis that I was talking to Jeff about earlier. What he's, the one, that weirdo I was just talking about the healthcare prices. He's had at least 4 press conferences in the Oval Office lowering drug prices, which is happening. I mean, the power and influence of the presidency is so much if they use it. And all these things that they're saying are a problem, he's taking care of them one by one. All right, I'm going to take some calls. I'm hesitant to take calls because the quality's been so poor this hour. We'll find out. You're on the air. What's your name? Where are you calling from?
Brian from Deerfield.
Well, I'm assuming you're going to raising the bar from my previous callers isn't saying much. We have a very low bar.
To, Brian.
Oh my goodness.
Well, 2 key points pointing out. Number one, which we're just making, Trump continues to do the impossible, not just in our country domestically, but internationally too. Just look at the peace accords that were signed in the Mideast amongst all these the nations over there. People always thought that is impossible, will never happen in a million years. Well, it did happen. And the other thing is that this the legacy media we have here basically very simply is just an arm of the propaganda arm of the Democratic Party, and it's doing a lot of damage. And I think they need to be held accountable for this. It's a disgrace. They are filtering the information we get. They're controlling the narrative, and the narrative is over from the Democratic Party point of view.
This story, it's almost like an afterthought. 101 missing children were found in Memphis and returned to their families. We have that data, but we don't know who was holding those. I don't even want to know what those children were going through. But if
Horrendous.
this, look at the press coverage that Obama got yesterday, walking on that plane, waving at some soldiers or something. I mean, it's like he's the second coming. President Trump rescued a plane load of children that were missing. Many of them probably abused and kidnapped, and God only knows what. And it's
probably all of them,
a total media blackout. If anybody else was president, they would have news crews following those children back home, and we'd find out the whole story.
Where are the people? Are our fellow citizens finally waking up to the fact that this is a one-sided media coverage of just about everything?
Yeah,
and it's just nothing but propaganda, just pure junk. Just pure junk. Sometimes you just got to turn it off. It's so bad. Which is the reason why the radio show here is so important, because we're getting the truth here. And we're getting coverage for people to see it first thing in the morning. And it's very important now. Very important.
Well, listen, I got to run for the gold report, but I appreciate the call.
Okay, Brian.
All right,
Have a great one.
We'll be right back. Hey there, hold on. Okay. All right, we're back. It's time to check in with William Youngerman from the offices of William Youngerman Incorporated. William Youngerman, how are the metals looking today?
Metals looking very good, Brian. They continue to move higher and consolidate at these levels, which is very bullish for gold and silver going forward. Yesterday, we saw gold trade in a range of $4,096 all the way up to $4,150 the ounce. Closing out today up $11 at $4,125.90 the ounce. Silver gained 72 cents, closing at $51.15. Platinum was up $3 at $15.79, and palladium was up $33 at $1,430. Overnight, we saw gold trade in a range of $4,098 on the low, all the way up to $4,146. Currently, we're at $4,129. That's up $3.10.
Wow.
Silver's up another 50 cents at $51.65 the ounce.
Wow.
Platinum up $1 at $1,580, and palladium down $5 at $14.25. So the metals are doing very well. Gold building some strong bases, over 4,000 now. Silver well over $50 an ounce. And it looks like it wants to go higher. Any pullbacks should certainly be bought at this point.
Yeah, now at these prices, I'm sure people are coming in with things made of the metals, because you buy the metals too. When it comes to silver, what are some of the because silver's some pretty great numbers. What are things that people bring in that are made of silver that are worth money?
Yeah, we're seeing a lot of what they call hollowware, which is like old candlesticks and soup bowls and terrains, and then of course the flatware sets that they're not using, and these things can amount to thousands of dollars now with silver up at these levels. So
yeah,
they're actually so many people. We tell them how much they're getting for their old silver that they don't use, and they're just shocked at the amount of money that they're getting. So that and just unused jewelry that they don't want anymore, outdated jewelry, broken jewelry. we absolutely pay the highest prices anywhere.
And not only can you get cash for that, but you could also trade it in on coins too, right? People do that sometimes.
Yes, a lot of people like to do that with, they still want to have a silver or gold position, so they trade in some of these things that are undescript and hard to calculate what the value is, so that they have an ounce of silver or several ounces of silver and gold, and it's in tradable form.
That's right.
Yep, we see that every day.
Well, listen, if you want to stop in and turn your metals into some money or to some bullion, William Youngerman opens up at 10 a.m. He's located at 150 East Palmetto Park Road in Boca, on the first floor of the Bank of America building, just east of US 1 Federal Highway on the south side of Palmetto Park Road. You can give him a call toll-free, 1-800-327-5010. That's 1-800-327-5010. And online, WilliamYoungerman.com. All right, William Youngerman, we'll talk tomorrow.
Okay, have a great day.
All right, take care. Another little story here. The Olympic Committee is not going to allow the transgenders to play in the women's sports next time around. This really amazing thing. It was so appalling when they had the Summer Olympics and those women were getting beaten up in the boxing match by those guys. And remember, the one wouldn't fight. She was afraid she'd get killed. And maybe she would have. The things that Trump has saved us from in this second term are nightmarish, what this world would have been like, right? There's a story I was reading today, which we haven't gotten the full story on, and I'm hoping we do. There was a woman that was about to become the first female SEAL team leader. She's a female naval captain. And I was reading that Pete Hegseth had stopped that appointment or promotion. And I haven't seen him comment on it. I've only read a couple of stories this morning that he stopped it. And they have a bunch of quotes from people that know her that's, she's the most qualified and everything else. I don't know. Maybe she is, maybe she isn't. Maybe she couldn't pass the physical necessities that are necessary. But everything in our country was upside down. We were living in this upside down universe where good was evil and evil was good, and just crazy things were going on that you can't. I mean, you look at how far the Democrats have fallen in their support, right? The Democrats, when the Lincoln Riley Act came up as an example, named after a girl, she wasn't raped, she sacrificed her life to prevent the rape from an illegal. And the Democrats wouldn't even support that because they support the rights of illegals, even if they're murderers and rapists. These lunatics that have been taking these insane positions, like the men beating up women in boxing matches or the supporting these rapists in the Lincoln Riley thing, these were the ones that would have been running the country. And Kamala Harris, she's doing a series of interviews. You would think she'd go off and retire, but maybe she has in the back of her mind she can be governor of California. I mean, let them elect her. If they elect her, they deserve her. But she's doing a lot of interviews, and she's actually saying that she held back when she was running against Trump, that if she would have been more forceful with her position, she could have won. With this transgendered business, with supporting the illegals? Not only, the biggest surprise to me during this entire second term of President Trump was this, and that was that there's been no real outrage against the deportations. I got that idiot caller earlier about it, but I thought prior to the election, we knew the deportations were going to happen. I assumed when the deportations happened, it was going to be nonstop television coverage covering it, with comparing it to the trains to the concentration camps during the Second World War. And there's been very little of that. That's my biggest surprise from the second term. But everything President Trump has stopped are things that almost everybody, including the Democrats, know are universally good. They talk about these 80-20 issues a lot with the talking heads. These are not 80-20 issues. These are 99.9 to 0.1 or whatever. 99 to 1, whatever you want to say it. The things that President Trump's doing, whether it's this new thing with the Olympic Games, the deportations, all these things you have almost 100% agreement that they're the right thing to do. Even the tariffs that they're telling us are so bad and wrong. You know, when we found out how not only out of whack the tariffs were, but we saw examples of how we've been supporting all of Canada for I don't know how many decades. People like, this is wrong. This is nuts. Even this thing with the SNAP benefits, it's finally getting resolved. The House is voting. It'll get taken care of. You'll have a couple of showboaters looking for some publicity, but it's getting taken care of. But even the SNAP benefits being cut off, which generally would be a very negative thing for a Republican to go through because, you know, the hungry people and the hungry children. But what happened? We saw social media filled with people that are able-bodied, many of them overweight, most of them young, very young, who just choose not to work. And they're making all these complaints online about why they're entitled. And if they don't get their SNAP, they're going to do this and they're going to do that. I've also seen a lot of videos of where there was one guy I saw at a Walmart. Somebody came through the checkout line at Walmart with over $1,000 in groceries, all paid for by the SNAP benefits. So something that typically would be negative for a Republican actually turned into a positive, where people are seeing what's going on and they're calling for reform, as opposed to giving Trump a hard time. They want reform and want them to look into this. These are things that have never happened quite in this way before. Now, I want to talk about Dr. Philip Appleton and his laser wave pain treatment. One of our longtime listeners called me yesterday. Oh, my goodness. Nick in Baltimore. And he had back surgery. And he is in so much pain. He's suffering. And if you heard that call, he was telling people, and when he called, he's like, if you're listening, don't have back surgery, don't have back surgery. You know, I've known so many people that have surgery for back pain, knee pain, shoulder pain. I have never known a single person who's had surgery for any of these things in my personal life who after the surgery was no longer suffering in pain. They're either still in pain or even in more pain, like in Nick's case. And, you know, if you have a surgery scheduled, go see Dr. Appleton, talk to him about his laser wave pain treatment first. The consultation is free and appointments are not necessary. If you have x-rays or scans, bring them with you. Dr. Appleton will look them over. And if you're suffering after a surgery, go see and talk to him too. He may be able to help you even then. You know, and that's what these surgeons, they're trained in doing surgery. They don't know about these other things. You know, like the laser wave pain treatment that's rid me of pain 7 times. The laser treatment works on every type of pain I've ever heard of. Neck pain, stenosis, tennis elbow, tinnitus, strains and sprains, sciatica, muscular contraction, lumbar pain, hip pain, knee pain, bursitis, bronchial neuralgia, arthritis. The list goes on. Appointments are not necessary. Walk-ins are welcome. Dr. Appleton performs all the laser treatments himself, not an assistant. It's completely painless. You don't even feel it when it's happening. And the best part is, it works. Give Dr. Appleton a call, 954-973-0710. 954-973-0710. That's 954-973-0710. And online, AppletonChiro.com. All right, so that'll about do it for us today, but hopefully tomorrow we'll raise the quality of the calls just a little teeny bit from what we've had today. In fact, pretty much since I started today, a little bit before 6 a.m., the calls have been, you know, a lot of calls, but low quality calls. So hopefully, you know, hey, that's how it goes. Yesterday was a holiday, so a lot of people are, I guess, recovering from the holiday, and it seems like some of them haven't gotten the alcohol out of their system yet. But there's a lot going on I didn't touch on today, but we'll get to it tomorrow, and a lot more is going to be happening today. Now, so I'll tell you one last thing. Yesterday, again, there was a confirmation from Trump about the $2,000. So that's happening. Don't let them tell you it's not going to happen. And if you notice, what the liberals are starting is, oh, he can't do it. They're doing this wishful thinking thing, like, oh, well, he doesn't have the power to do it. It's got to go through Congress. Well, if it has to go through Congress, it'll go through Congress. This is one of the most wildly popular things that I've seen come out of any presidential administration for a long time. But when George W. Bush gave the $300 and $600, a lot of Democrats said, we don't want it. But that was only $300 or $600. This is $2,000. People aren't so quick to say no to the $2,000. You're listening to the Steve Kane Show, Florida's longest running radio show, on the radio since 1977, celebrating 49 years on the radio. My name is Brian Craig. Take care. God bless America. God bless Donald Trump. We'll see you tomorrow morning at 6 a.m. Till then, take care. See you tomorrow. All right, we're clear. Hey, everyone, thanks for watching. If you're new, make sure you subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, do me a favor and like the video, all right? Take care. My name is Brian. This is where MAGA comes to talk.